Hello. Hey, y'all. Let me make sure you can hear me because I didn't actually plug in my microphone. I'm actually just talking through the laptop speaker. So let me see. Let me make sure y'all can hear me okay real quick. Sounds like it. Sounds like it. Okay, I think that'll work. I think that'll be fine. What do y'all think? I think it'll be fine. If it's not, then I can always just go and get it. No big deal. It's not too far. This is like a real informal. I'm over here sitting in the beanbag chair, you guys. And so I got on my shark onesie. Okay. Hold on one second. I'm gonna stand up so y'all can see. And so y'all can see it. Look. Look at this, y'all. About to fall. Look. Hold on, let me put my hood on. Right? That's so cute. I feel like maybe shark dude. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it's official. Let's just leave that on for a minute. I couldn't think of like the Jaws music. Y'all remember the music from Jaws? Let me see if I can look it up. Let's see. Ooh, they might have it out there. What y'all think? I think they might actually have it. That is crazy. Ooh, look. And I got the I got the music. I got the music to go with it. Yes. Yes. That used to scare me though when I was a kid. I ain't gonna lie. Cause you just knew that shark was gonna get you. Okay, let me quit playing. I told you guys, I'm low key silly. Y'all gonna figure that out as time passes because you'll find out. But hey y'all. Hey. I guess I ain't the only one up late. Or it could be early depending on where you are, I suppose. I am in Alabama and the time here is 11:24. And so I posted a video earlier. It was just a short video, just a short live, showing you guys the proof of the book. I got the proofs in today. Look, look. It's a book. It's a book. Do y'all understand? I had to cut this book down so much because sometimes when books are a little too thick, they're a little intimidating. So I actually ended up making it a series because it was just so much to say. And then like I was telling y'all, I started to really realize a bunch of stuff like after I left. It's like when you separate yourself from a situation, you get so much clarity. And so that's pretty much what happened. And so I actually learned more. Y'all see it's cute, right? It's cute. Anyways, I saw it. When I saw it, I got me one. I got my husband one too. He won't wear it. But I got him one, right? So at least I did that much. I don't want y'all to see all this mess in my background. Let me just pan a little bit so y'all can see what be going on. Look, that's my little work area. Okay, that's enough because it's messy over there. And then that's a little couch area. Okay, it's messy over there too. Okay, that's enough. You've seen enough. Okay. So sometimes when I get really tired, like after I've been working a while, whatever, I go right there and just take a nap on the couch. And then I get back up and go right there and start working some more, Because because the work has to be done. This is an important mission that we're on, you guys. So yeah, I was filing my nails because I had like a little jagged spot. You know how you have a jagged spot and then you go to like put on, it gets snagged on your clothes or in your hair or something. So I had to smooth out this little jagged spot. My nails are actually growing pretty good. I wish that bald spot would grow. I wish that bald spot would grow back pretty good. But I actually got it covered up, so I don't really know what it's doing. Let's just pray over it, okay? Let's pray over this. Jesus, let this hair grow back. Okay. Bless it, Lord. All right, we did that. So, hey, y'all, what's up? I'm going to tell y'all what happened today. Nothing happened. I had a little situation with the kiddo, with my youngest son. But, it's all good. We're just going to, he's a teenager. So we have teenager type things going on. But hey, so look, I got the proof today, right? I told you guys I got the proof in, and look, it has a seal and everything on it because I was not going to waste time, okay? I earned it, so it's going on there. But it says international #1 bestseller. So, so we got that going good. I already know right off the top that I need to put a copyright disclaimer in here because I forgot to do that. So that's I'm gonna send in the correction for that to be added to it because like I really don't mind people using my stuff, but I do want credit because I know that this is gonna be used to it's gonna be used. Let's just put it that way. It's gonna be used to help people, but you just got to make sure that you get the proper credit for the work that you put in. So got to put the little copyright disclaimer in there. And then right here, right, look, I think I want to get this changed a little bit. Okay, so this is the contents, right? And you see how it's all backwards. Okay, so you see how everything's like all lined up. I kind of want that's those second lines, the lines underneath to be indented. I mean, it's just little cosmetic things right now that I see. And then what's weird? Okay, I don't want to be anal about it, right? But look, this is one thing that I noticed, right? So I told you guys I was able to get 5 proofs. They give you you could order up to 5 proofs at a time, right? So look at this. The alignment's off. Okay, do y'all see like the difference in the heights right there? Can y'all see that? And then look at how like the words are like, they're not aligned right, I don't think. Are they aligned right? Anyway, and you see how like this one is closer to the top than like this one is? You see how much more room that is? Does that matter? Does that matter? I don't think it matters, but we're going to see. I'm going to look at this one. This is the one that's got the alignment like higher than this one. So I'm going to check this one to see, I don't really think it's a big deal. I think it probably just got cut, a little bit different than the other. So that's probably why. But I just be picking up on stuff like that. And I just, maybe it's a little perfectionism in me. Okay, and then, we got the dedication page, right? Everything looks pretty good with it. Okay. And then we start right in, you guys. We start right in. And so, okay, I told y'all that the start of this book, this first book in the series, starts with a prologue. Now, the rest of the books in the series will more than likely not have a prologue. I know the second one doesn't already. And I don't really think that any of them need it. I think that this one, because it was the first one, it needed a prologue because it's going to set the tone for the rest of the series. Okay. And when I say set the tone, what I mean is that what ends up happening is this prologue highlights a conversation that I overheard between my parents. And yeah, not overheard, but I heard between my parents, put it that way. Okay, so it starts off with, basically my father saying, some very harsh words to my mother. And basically, I really feel like that this part of the conversation that they were having was, it was a bit of a threat, you know. Um, and I don't have to say that of everything that has happened throughout the years and all the stuff that my father has done, I'm most angry about how he treated my mother. That's what really makes me most angry. I'm not even really most angry about how he treated the church members as much as I am angry about how he treated my mother. Let me explain. So you see how I have been speaking out for over a year now, right? And they're like the people that are in his church, my brother included, they really have no interest in um, doing anything different. They want to be there. I mean, several of them have expressed fear, like they're afraid of my father. And I don't know if they're afraid to leave or if that's where their fear comes in, or is it just like a fear of crossing him, a fear of leaving him, a fear like what? I don't know where the fear comes in and why. Is it an interaction that they're having with him? Like what type of dealings do they have with him outside of the church? Because like why would they fear him in the church and they're still there? You know what I'm saying? So does this fear extend outside of the church walls? So I guess what I'm saying is if they're afraid to leave the church, right? If they're afraid of him and they're afraid to leave, then do they feel that he's going to do something to them outside of the church? Because if they're not there anymore, then he can't do anything. Why are they afraid? It's because he can access them outside of the church walls. And that is why I believe that they're afraid of him. Now, that still doesn't negate the fact that they're still there. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're still there at the end of the day. And that's what I have to keep reminding myself is that my focus doesn't need to be on grown people who are making a conscious, informed decision to be where they are. As messed up as the situation is, as corrupt and perverted and demonic as that church is, they still choose to be there. They have access to all of these videos. They have been sent the book because my brother, you guys know that I gave the book for free on launch day. And um, the main purpose of that was to boost, to give my book a boost so that it is able to reach more people, So sometimes you have to sacrifice a bit, in order to get the message out. And so that's what I was doing. And so that, it can make bestseller status. Now, and this is a real transparent moment, that this is how I decided to do it. And the reason I decided to do it this way is because I really believe that this message is important, right? I really believe that the lessons that I've been able to learn from observing my father, from working with my father, from being his daughter, from observing him in the church, from all the interactions that I've had, every bit of knowledge that I've gained from him, I'm putting it in this series. Everything that I can just think of, any dots that I can connect, and even if I can't connect those dots, I put that in there. I put this stuff in the book so that maybe you guys can. I know that I'm not the only person who has this type of discernment that sees these people for who they truly are, you know? What was my whole point? Y'all know I'd be losing my train of thought like mid sentence, okay? Like how does that happen? Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, the thing is that I'm more angry with him for how he treated my mother. Um, because I really feel like throughout the years, I feel like this, but I also know this to be true, that she didn't really have much. She didn't have a choice to leave. Um, which is terrible. It's terrible. It's terrible to not have a choice in dealing with a person. Like it's either you deal or you die. You know, and it's like I can't get with that, you know? Like I realize that these people who are at the church, they are choosing to be there, that they don't live with him, that you know what I'm saying, they may be afraid of him physically, but they have measures to fix that or to make that not be as much of an issue. Whereas my mother, you know, she left, you know, basically with the clothes on her back and still has not been able to get any of her stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like this is a whole pastor who was married to her for I was about to cuss. I was about to say damn near 40 years. I need to just let myself cuss when I want to cuss. Let's just go with it, okay? So he's been with her for nearly 40 years and give her that, won't even give her that to just give her things. And I really truly believe that even if she was to try to even come and get her stuff or any of that, I mean, it's unsafe for her to come visit me. It's unsafe for her to come and visit her own daughter, y'all. Think about that. And I'm supposed to like love this man. I'm supposed to want him in my life. I'm supposed to claim him as my father. No, he's a piece of shit. He is a piece of shit. That's what I've been wanting to say. He's a piece of shit. He's disposable. He's expendable. He is everything wrong with the Black community. Period. He's the epitome of everything wrong. It looks good, but it's a piece of shit. There. That's the whole book. Summed it up right then and there. Just summed it up. My father is a piece of shit. And I am holding him accountable. I am holding him accountable for not only what he's done to me, not only what he's done to the church members, not only what he's done to my brothers, not only what he's done to everybody he's come in contact with, but what he's done to my mother. And it doesn't even matter if I get mad at her. It doesn't matter if I am not pleased with the decisions that she made in choosing my father. It doesn't matter if I felt like she should have been stronger. Like I really feel like she should have took him out because she was well within her rights to multiple times. It doesn't even matter. Who else is going to protect her? And the only reason that he doesn't even have the freedom that he wants to be able to go and do whatever he wants to her is because I won't shut up. It's because I just keep my foot on his neck. That's it. Because he has no alibi if he was to do anything, because I'm exposing him and I won't let up and I won't shut up. That is the only reason why. Which really is a major win. Which really is a major win that should be a lesson to all of us. Because you think, okay, well, if I just leave him alone, then, if we just keep quiet, we just keep the secrets and stuff, then it's going to be safer for us. But it's not. When these people are determined to do what they want to do, then you have to be determined to do what you need to do. The only reason why he has not done what he really wants to do is because his daughter won't shut the hell up. That is why. Who else is going to protect her? Not her son. Not her son who's over there brainwashed, who is in every opportunity he has tried to set her up. Every opportunity. My own brother has tried to set my mother up to be victimized by my father, knowing good and doggone well that he is violent, has been, and always will be. I think that there's a good handful, okay? A good handful of others that are like him, that are like my father. And I really believe that as daughters of these men, we have to be the ones to call them out. We have to be the ones to call them out. Who else is going to do it? Who else? Who else do our mothers have as an ally? This is ridiculous. I was trying to check to make sure I was being heard well on Facebook. This is ridiculous, you guys. I just I'll never listen to a man like that. Just and I take that back. I listen to men like that. You know why? Because you have to listen to them, but you listen to them to take in so that you can learn, so that you could be smarter about your dealings. And so you can protect yourself. But these type of men like my father, they make the whole world unsafe for their own daughters. Because my father has more sons than he had daughters. He only has one daughter, supposedly. I mean, who knows? For real, for real. He's already duplicated himself. He's duplicated himself. So not only do we have to contend with men like that, but we have to contend with their offspring. And I'm telling you now, they teach their offspring even worse than they are. Because they teach their offspring all the mistakes that they made in their manipulation games. They teach their offspring a better way of manipulating. They don't change. They don't say, well, you know what, I was wrong for how I was. I wasn't a good man, and I don't think that you should be this way. They don't do that. No, they don't do that. They teach them all the mistakes they made in their manipulation game. They teach them how to be better manipulators, better controllers, better liars, better cheats, better in the wrong way. It's a harsh reality, you guys. It just is. And I'm just over here trying to break curses, sure. In my shark in my shark onesie. Okay? It's true. This is my battle gear, honey. Sometimes you gotta go in there like a shark and take over some things. Okay, so anyway, so that's the prologue. And it really sets the tone for the rest of the series. And it lets you know kind of like the dynamic that my father and I have, where I was in tune with him, you know, very much in tune. I was very much an observer of his behavior. I watched him, you guys. He thought he was getting a lot past me, but he didn't get nearly as much past me as he thought he did. He did. And then now that I've had the courage to break my silence, other people are too. They're getting that courage too. I think my father believed that he had some type of safety in the way he treated me because he treated me differently. Okay? He treated me differently. He tried not to show me his worst self, but I always got a glimpse of it. I always, saw it, observed it, and just filed it away. Just filed it away. Okay, this is who I'm dealing with. This is what we're dealing with here. Even as a child, you guys, I just knew. And I just kept filing it away. Okay, all right. I see you. I see how you move. I see how you behave. Okay, all right. It was kind of like one of those things. So he felt like he hid his worst self from me. And then it kind of makes you think, now why was he trying to hide his worst self from me? And I believe that it is because he knew that I saw him. He knew that I could see through him. I saw what he was trying to hide. I saw that person. And he didn't realize that. I think he knew that I could see him, but he thought that he hid himself well enough. But I mean, how long can you keep on a mask? I mean, we've didn't we go through a whole mask situation for a couple 3 years now? You just can't keep a mask on. You just can't. It's going to come off. It's going to slip at some point. And his mask slipped multiple times. You can only hide so much from the people that you actually live with, even if they are children. You know what I mean? Like, just because I was a child does not mean that I'm stupid or blind or not gifted or anointed in a certain way. But he should know that because he's a pastor, right? He should know that there are going to be people that can see through him. So why not just be real? Why not just be a real authentic person? Why even wear the mask? If you want to change, just change. If you don't want to change, then don't change. But don't trick people. Let people know who they're dealing with. That is fair. That's what's fair. God gives us all a choice. So why do we continuously try to take each other's choice away? We continuously do that to each other. When we lie, we're taking people's choice away. When we withhold information, we don't tell the truth. We're not divulging, we are taking people's choice away. Because if I'm not giving you all the information so that you can make an informed decision of whether you even want to deal with me, then I'm taking your choice away. I'm not showing you my true self. I'm showing you a false self. I'm taking your choice away. And you should have the option of dealing with me or not based on my true character and my true self. But a narcissist does not give you that option. They watch you, they mirror you, mock you, mimic you, and then that's who you see. That's who you end up accepting. A mirror version of yourself. Narcissists create narcissists. Back to the book. So here we are with we are at the we just passed the prologue and now we're at the I just put in there provoked and started the book, well, right after the prologue with the scripture in Ephesians 6:4. And I use a New Living Translation. I look at a lot of different versions. I more than likely the version that resonates with me more is going to be the Message Bible version. But this, and they pretty much all this, they say the same thing. Excuse me, but sometimes one reads better than the other. Um, and so the New Living Translation reads like this: Fathers, do not provoke your children to anger by the way you treat them. Rather, bring them up with the discipline and instruction that comes from the Lord. And that's Ephesians 6:4, New Living Translation. So that's where we go to next after the prologue. And then we're into the introduction. Whoop, 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 whoop. So I've read the introduction to you guys like multiple times. Yeah, it's been multiple times that I've read this to you guys. And I even did like a little live version of it where I was trying to like read it and just speak it at the same time. I don't even know how that came across. I'm trying to practice like different ways of like reading this and delivering the message that's within within the book. And so yeah, so I've just been trying to play with it, a couple of different ways of doing it. But so let's just go ahead and move past the introduction. But long story short, with the introduction is, first of all, I first start off with kind of telling you guys how, I knew, basically like who my father was and, how he was, that all of that did not escape me, right? So that doesn't really it doesn't really have anything to do with like why I was at the church, I really figured that my father was really trying, still trying, like he still has some ways. And, I would just try to like when I would see different things, I would, talk to him about it, address it or, make a little remark, a little, something, a little side eye, just whatever method I could use to try to let him know that, some of the things that he was doing was wrong or misguided, I try to have a conversation. And a lot of times he would listen because like that was one of his manipulation tactics, He would listen if you were making him a better narcissist, and that's the thing. Like sometimes you really think that you're listening, like he's listening and that you're really helping him, but you're not. You're just really teaching him how to be his best worst self. It's sad, but that's the way it is. And that's how some people are. They're not gonna listen for, the because they really want to do better, they really want to learn or whatever. They really just want to be better deceivers. So that's how he is. So he would listen, but I didn't really for a while I didn't really think that was the case, I think that was one of the things that I started to figure out in the last like few years that I was there. I was like, he's not changing. He's not a better man. He's still a piece of crap, but he's just trying to, we're painting a better mask for him. We are just making him better. And you can imagine how we made him better, how we made him a better narcissist. I mean, look, like everybody around him was educated, go getters, and, you know, had a spirit of really just of excellence and wanting to really serve God and build the kingdom. Like my father he really messed up. He really messed up. Like if you're watching, you really messed up. Like you messed up bad. God gave you every resource. Like you talk about like the man with the 10 talents type of thing. Please. And I think that's what's so hard for his family to even like to grasp, because I think that they really looked at him as he was like the golden child, but not because he really displayed that when he was growing up, but because they saw potential in him. And see, that's another thing. You see potential in these people, and one I don't like. It's like once a man, goes past a certain age, it's like the potential is not potential anymore. It's just a bunch of missed opportunities. It's just a bunch of missed chances, just bad decisions. It's not even potential anymore because they're turning the potential into crap. And so that's what it ends up being. Year after year, opportunity after opportunity that they mess up or they miss. And that's the potential that you see. You see, like, they have it all. It's like you have it all. You're smart, probably built right, probably athletic, probably, um, you know, nice looking, like they just have different things that are going for them that make them look like an ideal person. Um, but they squander the opportunities, and even once they mess up, they still don't get it right. They still don't figure out, like, okay, let me stop this because it's not working. They just keep hitting that, just keep on hitting the brick wall with it, and you're just like, but you have so much potential, but you have so much potential, but you have this and you have that, and no. Because what's potential when you don't do anything with it? It's just a bunch of missed opportunities. So I think that they saw him as a, like maybe like the golden goose or whatever, the golden child. And they figured that he had so much potential. He had a good voice. He was a nice looking man, could dress nice, had the charisma and the charm and the whole nine. He had it. Everything that you want to see when you look up at a pulpit. you know, every stereotypical thing that you want your that you think of in a Black Christian church. He had the look and feel. He was fool's gold. That's what he was. Fool's gold. And they looked at him like he was the real thing, like he was real gold. But it was just a bunch of crap, just varnish or whatever. It's just gold dipped. But but beneath all of that veneer is a bunch of crap. Is a piece of shit. But y'all didn't hear me. Y'all didn't hear me say that. Y'all didn't hear me say. Yes, you did. I said it. I said it. And y'all better not be judging me for it either, because all them cuss words he done said, and some of y'all don't even bat an eye at it. And he was talking about church people too. He was talking about his own family, talking about his own wife. But whatever. Anyway, so now we're at the introduction, and then so I just give you guys kind of like a overview of a lot of the issues that were presented, and then we go into chapter 1. We're proofing the book, you guys. So that's what we're doing here. Okay. So like I told y'all, I the way I organized the book was like by chapter. Hold on, let me go back to the contents page. So I organized it by chapter, right? So it's 3 chapters, and beneath each chapter are episodes. Okay, so that's how the book is organized, is by episodes. So, and remember I told y'all that I got that idea from Dr. Ramani, because on one of her videos she said that when she was talking to either she was talking to one of her clients or something like that, but she said that life with a narcissist is like a series of unconnected episodes. And when I heard her say that, like, it just resonated so strongly with me. And I was just like, that's how I'm going to organize the book, because that's what it's like. It's like a lot of the things that my father would say and do just didn't quite make sense. And then after I left, I was able to kind of like connect the dots with it, kind of like to connect the episodes, that it all fits into the story. It all fits into the big picture of who he is and the damage that he's done within, his family, within his church, and, and all of that. So that's how I organized it. So right out the gate, you guys, with episode 1, it's called Dissonance. Can y'all see that? Can y'all read that? I don't know. Anyway, it's called Dissonance. And let me just look up a good definition for it. But it's basically when there are 2 conflicting things that exist, or more. I guess more than 2. It could be more than 2. But it's when things aren't hold on, let me just give you a good definition. And then I'll tell you why I chose it to be the to name this episode that. Okay, so dissonance is usually, like, I believe they use it mostly in music, is when there's a lack of harmony, right? A lack of harmony among musical notes. And then the second definition is a tension or clash resulting from the combination of 2 disharmonious or unsuitable elements, okay? So when you take it like that, right? So what I mean by dissonance is that there was a difference between what my father preached and the life he lived. There was a difference between the man that he presented in front of everyone else and the man that he, was at home. But see, there were multiple faces to my father. It wasn't just the pastor and the father. It was like, he's a husband, he's a businessman, he's a landlord. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, because he has so many different roles in people's lives, that's how he was even able to kind of like make more of an impact, and kind of like have influence in multiple areas of people's lives. See, the thing is when you kind of wiggle your way into people's lives and you make yourself useful. See, this is one thing that he always taught us as kids, to make ourselves useful. And I think you guys will, if you really think about it, you've probably heard a few toxic YouTubers, okay? Men who have said that about like women and children making themselves useful to the man, right? So my father would teach us to make ourselves useful. So anytime I ever went anywhere or like, did anything, I always tried to be a help, tried to like make myself useful. Like, if there's been a party or something and I was invited to the party, it doesn't matter. Like I would, after the party, I'm cleaning up, with everybody else, or with, the people who organized it or whatever. It's just I make myself useful. It's something that I was taught. It's ingrained in me. But when you're talking about a toxic person, right? See, that's good when you're talking about people who have a good heart, who have good intentions, who, who are trying to do the right thing. But when you're talking about somebody who's manipulative and controlling and stuff like that, they'll wiggle their way into your life and make themselves useful, but almost to the point where they're creating a codependency. Okay. So how my father would do that was, let's say he sold you a car, right? So he may you attend his church, then he's like, hey, I got, you need a car, I got a couple cars, you want to come look at the cars, right? So now you've entered another type of relationship with him. Okay. So now that's already a dual role. You're already a church member, parishioner, or whatever. Then he's able to get you in on a car deal, right? Okay. So he sells you a car. Well, maybe you're doing payments, so you're going to have a prolonged relationship with him. Or maybe the car breaks down, and because more than likely it's going to break down because he likes to sell lemons. But anyway, so maybe the car breaks down, and then you have to go back to him like, hey, this car you sold me is breaking down. So now you have a prolonged relationship with him. Now you kind of need him because he sold you something, he took your money. But what are you going to do with what he gave you? So now you're back, like, hey, I need help with this car. So now there's a need created. Okay. Then maybe you need to move. You need to, find another place to stay or something, Oh, I got you. He got a couple properties, whatever. Just move on into one of my houses, Then he's created a need that way, or fulfilled a need that way. He's made himself useful in your life. And because he's made himself useful, because he was able to somewhat provide those necessities that you needed, those little things, and they're not little things. They're not little things. And he knows that, which is part of the game, right? But because he was able to provide some of those basic needs that you had, then he has made himself useful, which means that you are now indebted. That's how toxic people work. That's how that works with them. So when he said for us to make ourselves useful, it's like, how can I use you? How can I exploit and objectify you? What value do you bring to me? What blood can I suck from you? That's how a toxic person makes themselves useful. But when you have someone who has good intentions, like let's just say the contrast between my father and I, right? I've made myself useful in that I'm sharing my experiences. I've written a whole book, but my father can't even find the, I don't know. I don't even know what he would have to find. But he doesn't even find whatever he needs to find to be able to at least come on his own platform and be honest and upfront and open. When that is what really will help and heal people. That's what's actually useful. Is to tell people how you're effing up and how you continue to F up. Is that light irritating you guys? I'm sorry. I got so much mess in the background. I'm trying to be like all selective about how maybe I should bring it a little closer. I don't know. Anyway, whatever. Y'all just forget my backgrounds. I'm on the beanbag chair. In my shark outfit, you guys. Look. Baby shark. But like I said, I just wanted to come like and just be like informal and just, really just have a dialogue and go through this book and just, all that stuff. Anyway, it's looking good still so far, you guys. It's looking good. So dissonance like I said, is when there are conflicting, disharmonious things within your life. And a lot of times people will try to um people try to bring harmony to disharmonious things, right? So what usually happens is that you process something in your mind, right? You're like, okay, wait, this doesn't make sense, right? You got this over here, you got this person saying this thing, but they're showing you something different. So that's a disharmony, right? So what usually happens is people try to bring harmony to that situation. So sometimes they'll lie to themselves, right? So sometimes they'll be like, well, he didn't mean that, you know, because maybe he showed something different than what he said. So maybe he didn't mean what he said, or maybe he didn't mean what he did, but you try to make it, you try to make it right within your mind. That's where I believe like a lot of people go wrong. And it's easy to do. It's super easy to do when you talk about Christianity, because Christianity is built on this system, of love and forgiveness and, forgive and forget and all of that stuff. And even when you see things or hear things that aren't congruent, because I mean, think about how much stuff doesn't really make sense that's in the Bible. Think about it. Because if it made a whole lot of sense, then how are people able to take it and twist it so much? Because there are some things in there that just they don't quite add up. And it's just the fact of them. That's just a fact. And that's why Christianity loses a lot of people. It's a lot that just does not add up and make sense. And nobody really wants to talk about that. It's like when you try to address the fact that there's a lot in the Bible that don't make sense, and it's like, but okay, but wait, like this is not harmonious, then people shame you for it. Then it's like you're not a Christian, you're not saved, and you're not this, and you're not that, and you're going to hell, basically. It's rare that you can actually have a real dialogue about beliefs, about, like, I had a whole argument. I'm not even gonna tell you who it was with, but I had a whole argument over some tarot stuff. And it's like, I don't necessarily believe in tarot, but I believe that some people are gifted, and it's like maybe it's a misguided way of walking out their gifting. But I don't feel like you should throw people away, and we constantly throw people away who are actually like quality people. And it's like the people that we keep holding and embracing are people that are actually hurting us. How is the pastor more important than the people who are actually sitting in the pews? How? He's the one who's supposed to have it all together already. At least that's the way a lot of them pretend. And my father did the same thing. Even while admitting that he wasn't perfect, still portraying this perfection that just wasn't there. It's hypocritical. And it's not congruent. It's disharmonious. It's a lot of disharmonious things that happen within the church. And what happens is we try to make it right within our minds. Okay, wait, let me, this person's action isn't adding up. But what we do, end up gaslighting ourselves, lying to ourselves, or just totally trying to turn a blind eye to it because we can't make sense of it. So we just be like, okay, well, I'm just not going to look. Like, I'm just not even going to look because I can't make sense of it. And that's what I was faced with, which is why I had to go ahead and start episode 1 with this whole disharmony. I was raised in disharmony. And even though a lot of us are willing to just be like, okay, yeah, I lived in disharmony, but nobody was perfect. That doesn't matter. This is not about it wasn't perfect, but it should have been perfect. That's not what I'm saying. That's an extreme that people try to go to negate your whole argument or your whole, everything that I'm saying. That's the thing that people try to do. Don't go to the extreme with this. I'm not expecting perfection. Never did expect perfection, but I damn sure didn't expect to be abused either. So don't try to say it like it's like it's one extreme or the other. Don't play the dissonance game like that. There is a middle ground. There is, okay, I messed up, but I'm working towards making this right. And if you are in a profession, right? You say that you've been called and you are anointed to do this, and these are the things that you are preaching to other people to do, then you need to be doing the same thing. You need to be practicing what you're preaching, and there was no practicing what he was preaching. It was dissonance. He would talk about how good of a father God was, but he never displayed that. Like, how hard is it to actually display what you talk about all the time? How could he even live with his own dissonance, with his own incongruence, with his own disharmony within himself? Much less, how could we? Like, you're not even harmonized within yourself. What are we supposed to do with it? As children, what are we supposed to do with your disharmony? And though we grow up, right, we all grow up in imperfect situations. That is no excuse, right? And that doesn't negate doing things intentionally that are evil, that are demonic, that are just plain wrong, knowing that they're wrong and then intentionally doing them. And then not even being man enough to step up and say, I did it. And you know what? You know what's crazy though? That a man who has a daughter, right, never really even has to do anything to earn her love, and really doesn't even have to do much to keep it. Most girls are born idolizing their fathers. Like, it's something that is ingrained almost. It's like it's in the fabric of your DNA is how you're structured as a daughter. It's something that's like almost innate. He never has to do anything to earn it. There's no like I have to court you because I want to sleep with you and I want to, it's none of that, because that's what he does to, in a romantic situation. It's not like that, right? In most situations, it's not like that. I mean, we have some situations like that, but in the average typical situation, right? A father does not have to do anything, anything, anything to really earn or get his daughter's love, affection, admiration. I'm the best supply my father ever had. He never had to do anything to get it. He just had to be. He just had to be there. He just had to be. He just had to be. In a lot of cases, and a lot of y'all, they don't even have to be there. They're idolized. And what's so sad is that we actually punish the ones who are there. We'll punish the mother for staying and idolize the father for leaving. No, we idolize him even though he left, not for leaving, but even though he left. It's just how it is. So then you have to ask yourself, well, if a man, right, if a father actually loses his daughter's love, affection, and admiration. Okay, and he didn't even have to do nothing to get it. It's like, what? How? How you screw that up? A man who is a narcissist, I'm telling you, the best apply. The best apply. I feel like I need to refluff this beanbag chair. I'm feeling really close to the ground right now. Like it's not really much cushion right where I'm sitting. Ooh, yeah, I get uncomfortable sometimes. But yeah, he doesn't even have to do anything. Like, tell me if I'm lying. What father really had to put in any work for real to get his daughter's love, affection, admiration, loyalty, respect, dedication? Doesn't have to do anything. He just gets it. Which is why most men will dote over their daughters. This is the one woman in their life. They didn't have to do anything. They have to do nothing. So how do you lose that? How do you screw up so royally that you lose that? Mm. So he did. He lost that. And that's how I start the book. It starts off with Sunday, August 25th, 2019, was my last time attending my father's church. I felt such guilt and shame for leaving, but staying and allowing his abusive behavior to continue was not a sign of loyalty, dedication, or faith. For me, it was a matter of life and death, and staying was killing me. How far did my obligations as the pastor's daughter go? How much wrong did I have to witness? How broken down would I become before I could choose my health, sanity, and faith over my father? A nearly impossible decision for a little girl. That's how I felt, like a little girl. And in his presence, I was weak. I saw the wrongdoing, but I was powerless to stop it. That's the first paragraph of episode 1. And I just really felt like um, that I had a impossible choice, an impossible choice to make. And that's the choice that he gave my mother. It was either you stay or you die. And when I say that staying was like killing me anyway, because like y'all, I'm telling you, now I had to have like surgery and all of that stuff to get my stomach back right. But when I tell you, I know this man was making me sick. I'm telling you, I know he was making me sick. I know he was making me sick. And I told him that. I said, it's you. It is you. I actually say y'all because I included my mother in it too. And at the time, I felt like she was a part of it. Not that she was a part of what he was doing, but her behavior enabled his because she just kept on cleaning up his messes. And I'm just like, well, what would happen if you just let it all fall apart? What would happen if you stopped trying to come in here and clean up everything? Just let it be. Let it be and see what happens. And that's what happened. Everything came crashing down where it needed to be. And so I felt like this is killing me. It's killing me being around this man. But y'all, I did not intend on cutting my father off as my father. I need to make that clear, okay? Because this was not a like I'm cutting you off period type of thing. I just wanted to leave the church because My spirit wasn't being fed. My spirit was being vexed. And honestly, I was just like, well, he's my father. So, I mean, that's a role he has, he's going to have, you know? But as my pastor, like I can make a different decision on that. Like that choice is mine. I was born into, into this situation that he created. I didn't have a choice in that, but I have a choice in if I'm going to deal with him as my pastor. You don't get to be both if you effing up both. And let me just take some of that away from you. Obviously, you can't handle this job. So let me just, nah, you don't need to do that part. Let me just go somewhere else, or whatever the case may be, and just not have that part. But I didn't intend on cutting him off as my father until this conversation. And I posted a video of a snippet of the conversation. It was like the first like almost 6 minutes of it, but it was like 50 minutes total. But I just gave you guys like the first beginning. It's the same thing. I just gave you guys the beginning of it just to kind of like, just to kind of whet your appetite a little bit so you can see like how he does things, how he maneuvers, how he moves, right? Because if you're not wise to it, you will think that what he said to me was not that bad. Let me tell you what he said to me, because the book goes right along. It goes right along with that conversation. Okay. So as I drop, the conversation, you'll be able to follow right along in the book with how the conversation went. I didn't, I cut out a small portion of it that was just a little too, because it revealed like where I live, like the city I live in and stuff like that. And so I felt like, I needed to take that out for, my safety. Even though, I talk about living in Alabama and all of that stuff. I talk about basically where I live, but I just didn't feel like it needed to be as specific as what he said. And it was my father's words. So I took out that part of the conversation. And then it was like some private financial stuff that he said. So I took that part out, and that was like just for my safety, because like you putting all this information in a book, and it almost kind of like reveals more about me than I feel like is safe to share. So that's why I took out and it was just like, just maybe a 30-second, maybe up to a minute portion of the conversation. But everything else goes just like the conversation goes. But see, you'll notice that what I did was I took his words, right? So like here, let me just continue reading some of it. The next day, my father called while I was on my way to yet another doctor's appointment. As the phone rang through my car speakers, Papa appeared displayed across the screen. I quickly pressed record as we exchanged pleasantries. Then he said, "Yeah, your mother told me what you said yesterday, and the answer is no." Like that's basically the first thing he told me was like, and what my mother said was Lois and Philip are leaving the church. We were leaving the church that Sunday, which was the day before, which was the 25th, was our last day attending the church. Well, my father called me the next day, which is what I just said here, and I called him Papa. Which I don't call him anymore because to me that was a term of endearment. Um, which I mean that was what he wanted to be called. It was really kind of embarrassing, honestly, growing up because we called our parents mother and papa. So it's crazy, right? And then when I was, I think I told you guys this before, but when I was an adult, I asked my mom, I was like, "Why did you want to be called mother and papa? Why did y'all want to be called? Why did you want to be called mother?" And she was like, "Well, because I didn't want 5 kids running behind me talking about mommy, 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 mommy." So I was like, "So you wanted 5 kids running behind you talking about mother, mother, mother?" You know what I'm saying? It's just like, I don't know, y'all. whatever. Anyway, so we call them mother and papa, which I don't even call my mother mother anymore. I call her mommy, because to me, that's a term of endearment. We called her mother because it was formal. That's what she wanted to be called. But um, now that I'm an adult, I call her mommy because that's how I feel about her now. Like growing up, I didn't really care for her, because of the decisions that she made with my father. I didn't really care for her at all, you guys. We had our clashes too, which I'll talk about at some point, but right now we focused on the old man. Um, but anyway, so yeah, I don't call him Papa anymore though. And I'm becoming comfortable with calling him Harold. Because that's his first name. And so I'm becoming comfortable with just calling him by his first name, or, whatever. But he doesn't deserve to be called Papa anymore. So that's what he did. He says as soon as he got on the phone, he was like, "How you doing?" And I'm just like, "Hey, how are you?" Now, one other thing I wanted to tell you guys, he called me from my mother's phone, right? So I didn't know it was him. Yes, I did. Wait a minute, did I? I had to, cause how else did his name come up? How did that happen? Dang, cause now I'm forgetting. He must have. Anyway, I don't know. I'm gonna have to go back and look at that because I might have to correct that. Because I could have sworn that he called me from his number because I thought I saw his name. But then, because that's why I went ahead and grabbed my. But then he called me from another. Something's not right. Anyway, I'm gonna have to go back and look at that, you guys. I'm gonna have to go back and look because that doesn't make sense to me. But anyway, so that's what happened. And then and then I was like, he says, "Well, your mother told me what you said," which what I said was is that we were leaving, and he said no, that I can't, that the answer is no, and I'm just like, the answer is no, and I kind of chuckled a little bit, like, what? Like, I'm grown. Like when I left you guys, I was 39 years old. I'm just like, dude, like I have grown kids, like what are you talking about? The answer is no. And so he was like, yeah, the answer is no. Okay. So here I said, um, then he said, yeah, your mother told me what you said yesterday, and the answer is no. And then I said, the answer is no. I chuckled. He couldn't possibly think that would work. Then I said, I dreaded this conversation. So when mother broke the news that my husband Phil and I were leaving the church, I prepared myself. Initially, Pastor said to turn in our keys. Our services were no longer needed. I was pleasantly surprised that he responded this way, but I knew he would not let us go that easily. And I did. I knew. I just knew. I knew he was going to try just to beg me back, or to be like, don't leave. Or like he used to do this thing where he was like, well, I know, your spirit, your soul, well, it's whatever, it was always like, because I tried to leave before. Okay, so I think that's important to know too. I tried to leave several times before because I wasn't getting anything out of it. The kids weren't really getting anything, and so I tried to leave before. Well, he would say, that he needed me, but he was like, but you go on go if you want to. But I just knew he didn't mean it. And when he would say to go ahead and go, I knew that it was something to it. It was like he didn't really mean that I could go. It meant that there was going to be consequences to it, that he was going to either like not speak to me as much, like give me silent treatment or whatever. And I didn't want that. I mean, it's my father. I want a relationship with him. But the relationship with him was contingent on, me going to the church and, doing everything that he wanted me to do on that end, which I was just like, that's not right. And eventually I got to the point where I was like, well, you know what? Forget it. You know, if my relationship with him is on the line, if my relationship with my mother is on the line, if my relationship with everybody that's still in the church is on the line, then so be it. Then it's just not worth it. It's just not worth it to have, because my sickness was getting so bad that I could not continue down that path. Like, I just couldn't. It was like, you know, everybody else got to go. Like, forget them, you know, because I can't keep dealing with this. I was in so much pain. Y'all don't even understand. Let me just tell y'all about the barium enema that they gave me. And when I tell y'all, I had so many procedures, like I had so many colonoscopies. I don't even know how many, but it seemed like every like it just seemed like every few months they was trying to stick a scope up my behind, y'all. Ugh. And then I had to have the you know, the other one, the what is it called? The colonoscopy and the you know, when they go down your throat. The dang it, I cannot think of it. But anyway, I had to have those done too, where they go down and then they look at the top part of your stomach. They look all down, you know, your esophagus and all that. And then they was going up like the opposite end. One time I had them both done at the same time. So like they were going up both ends, you guys. It was terrible. I'm scarred for life. I am scarred for life. Okay. Then, of course, and then, okay, so you already know that when you have those type of procedures, the prep is like the worst part. And that's like what, for like 3 days? 3-day prep where you have to take like the magnesium citrate. And then they had this big old gallon thing that I had to take, that I had to drink all of it. And then, of course, you know, it's designed to like clean you out so they can get a clear picture. But when you have like backed up and you got congestion and all that, it's like you can try to drink all that stuff and hope that it cleans you out, but it didn't clean me out every time, y'all. Okay? So it was rough. It was real rough. And sometimes I could not hold that stuff down, and it was real rough. It was real. I'm scarred for life. And then the barium enema. Okay. Yeah, it might get a little graphic, so you might need to go. Okay. Warning, it might get a little graphic, okay? So, okay. So with the barium enema, right? What you had to drink the barium, I think it was. I drank the barium, right? So, yeah, I had to drink the white stuff so that they could see in there. I had so many procedures. I'm trying to get it all straight. But what I really remember that was bad about the barium enema is that I was wide awake, of course, when they did it. I don't even think they gave me any type of pain reliever. It doesn't seem like it. But anyway, so they stuck this. Okay, so this is embarrassing. Okay, so they have to stick the thing up, you know, your rectum, and then they go in and then they open. It's like a balloon thing. They go in and then they open it. And why do they open it? Because it's closed. Okay, like closed, like my intestine thing, you know, my colon thing was closed. So they took. I'm getting graphic. I'm getting graphic. This is not funny to scar me, y'all. Listen. So let me demonstrate. This is terrible. Don't tell my husband on me. Listen. Okay, let me demonstrate. So this is the hole. This is the hole, right? So they take the scope thing, right? And they go through the hole. Now, mind you, maybe the hole isn't that closed right there, you know, but up in there, it's closed, right? Which is why that I go in with the thing and open it up so they can see what's going on in there, right? But it's closed, which means that to open it up, it's probably going to hurt real bad. And it did. It hurt real bad. I was walking differently when it was over, and I couldn't really say anything. Anyway, so they stuck that thing in there, right? And then they opened up the balloon area so that they could see what was going on in there. And it was probably the most painful thing I have ever experienced. I mean, worse than childbirth, worse than hysterectomy, worse than getting my tubes tied, worse than getting them untied, worse than, like I've gone through all of that. I'd probably say it was even worse than getting my tonsils removed. And I got those removed when I was like 21. Okay. And when you're older and you get your tonsils removed, that when I tell you that's a pain, oh, that's a pain, baby. And the reason that hurts so bad is because it's a pain in your neck and stuff. So it hurts all up into your ears and in your head and everything. And it just kind of goes. It's a pain that radiates, okay, when you get your tonsils removed. So just remember that. But for kids, it's fine. Like they recover with like no issues. Like they're probably eating regular food by the end of the night. But not grown folks. When grown folks have their tonsils removed, it's a different kind of pain. But that barium enema was probably like right along those lines, or worse than the tonsillectomy. I'm scarred. I'm scarred for life over that. And then you guys know I had to get the surgery because it had just gotten so bad. It was like nothing that they could really do but to remove the infected part of my they removed my sigmoid colon and part of my intestine. It was actually Dr. Crawford, which is a doctor that's in Anniston. He's a really good surgeon. And then and I actually mentioned them both in the book too, to be both Dr. Crawfords, because both of them are my doctors. The male Dr. Crawford did my surgery. He's an amazing surgeon, y'all. So if y'all ever need, then I highly recommend him. And then his wife is my rheumatologist, because you guys know I have lupus and fibromyalgia and all that stuff. So I go to her, and I mention her in the book too. So when I talk about the surgeon who removed my colon and intestine and all that, that's Dr. Crawford, the man. And then when I talk about when I got my lupus diagnosis, I talk about that in the book too. That's the female Dr. Crawford, and she's an amazing rheumatologist. So that's cool. I'm gonna have to let them know. I didn't even let them know that I, mentioned them in the book. So I'm gonna have to let them know. But anyway, so that's what was happening to me at the time. And I had several emergency room visits, and so, a couple of those times I was so severely dehydrated, they could barely find a vein. They had to give me fluids and pain meds, and then I was constantly throwing up. It was bad. Like my whole digestive tract from beginning to end, y'all. Okay. From intake to outtake, from the rooter to the tutor, it was bad. It was really bad. It was really bad. I don't want to ever experience that again. I still get nervous because sometimes, I have like tinges and little, pains and stuff that I have in my stomach. And sometimes I have like a spot in my stomach that spasms, that has really bad spasms sometimes. But right now I'm just I really just don't even want to go back to the doctor for real about it, even though I know I'm probably going to have to pretty soon. But I just, I'm really scarred behind that for real. And I just pray that never happens to anybody. I wouldn't even want that to happen to my father. I wouldn't even want him to have to go through that for real. Like, it's terrible. I don't really want anything bad to happen to my father. I just want him to answer for what he's done, And I know that that's going to come with consequences. I know that, there will be punishment. I believe that part of this is part of his punishment, but that this is part of his punishment. But I don't really wish anything bad on him. It's like bad health or anything. Like, I just, it's not that serious for me, because it's just how do you escape responsibility for all that you've done? You're going to pay for what you've done, at some point. That's just the law of nature, So I don't wish anything bad on him because I don't have to. He did that himself. So I'm sure that he is both reaping and will continue to reap the what he sowed. So that's that. But that junk was, ooh, y'all. I'm scarred. I'm still scarred. Yeah, I'm scarred. Mm, mm, mm. But anyway, okay, so then it goes into the conversation. It starts heavy into the conversation that I could say it was a conversation, but it wasn't really a conversation. It was one-sided. My father was talking to me, talking at me. You know, it was a lot of judgments in here, threats, gaslighting, love bombing, hoovering, future faking, like all of the classic narcissist stuff, all the classic narcissist tactics. He used every last one of them on me. And to be honest with you, that's what really, like, it really made me mad. It made me mad because they try to, like, narcissists, people who are very toxic will use everything that's important to you against you. But he did all of that instead of just getting right, instead of just doing what was right. And it's just you choose the hard path. You chose this path. Like, we all have a choice. And because my father made his choice, I made mine. That he no longer has access to me. He no longer has access to the only woman, first woman, only woman that ever truly admired him without any strings attached. Without anything. Never had to do anything. You never had to do anything. I venture to say that a daughter has more admiration for her father than the mother does for that same man who is her son. I'm for real. Like, I would go that far as to say a daughter has more love, admiration, dedication, loyalty, all of that stuff towards her father, even more so than the mother does who birthed that same man. I didn't have to raise him. He didn't have to abide by my rules. He didn't have to live in my house and clean his room all the time. He didn't have to bring home good grades. He never got on punishment. He never got grounded. I never whooped him. You know what I mean? There was never an expectation of him on my end. That's how it is with fathers and daughters. There's really no expectation. A man can totally leave and not even be present in his daughter's life, and she will still admire him. I'm drinking some tea from Bojangles, y'all. I ain't got no business drinking tea. I really don't drink it for real, but I just wanted to stay up and talk to y'all. So I'm hoping it gives me that, that little wake up power, stay awake power. Anyway, just it never had to do anything. So it's just like, how do you screw that up? Think about it, though. Think about it. The daughter has absolutely there's no expectation there. There's no responsibility there. The daughter doesn't even, like, when she's born, she doesn't even know what to expect to put an expectation on them. She's gonna more cling to the mother for the sustenance and stuff like that, because that's usually where it comes from a mother's breasts, right? So there's expectations of the mother, but when you think about the father, there's nothing. There's no expectations. You just get to be great. You just are great because you are. And there's a YouTuber, Cynthia G, that talks about black male worship. And I think that's where you first learn it. That's where you first learn black male worship or male worship, period, is when in that situation, the father-daughter relationship. And then that daughter grows, and then that worshiping that that's been ingrained in her. And if it's not, if it's not taught correctly, if it's not taught, I mean, if you're taught to worship a human being, you're already taught wrong. You're already taught wrong. But women will grow, and they'll go on to keep idolizing, worshiping these men who are not worthy, who had never had to do anything to earn her loyalty, dedication, respect, admiration, or anything. Never had to do anything because her father didn't do anything. And if she grows up with a man who does not perform, right? Who does not meet any type of standard or expectation that is out in the world, because the daughter doesn't create that expectation. He doesn't measure up or do anything, then she probably will grow up and still not require that from her mate. And the problems that my father and I had always manifested themselves in my in my romantic relationships. Excuse me, y'all. It always manifested itself in my relationships with men, and not just romantic relationships. It was in my relationships with my sons as well. And I have two sons. I wasn't blessed with a daughter. My husband and I had three miscarriages, and we believe that, one of them, a couple of them, I don't know, could have been girls, but we weren't able to bring a child into this world together, my husband and I have sons. I am the mother of sons of black men. Will I teach my sons to maintain the same standard that I grew up seeing in my father? It's a question that we have to ask ourselves. And sometimes you have to make a strong statement against what's not right, against wrong. And sometimes the strongest statement you can make is to be like, no, we're cutting it off. No, this is not gonna go like this. And that's what I had to do. So then my father just starts off, he goes right in. He goes right in with, no, you can't go. And then he told me, he was like, the answer is no, my baby ain't going nowhere. And then he immediately tries to put me in a little girl role. Now I'm making this decision as a grown woman. Like, no, it's not right what you're doing in the church, and I don't agree with it, and I don't want to be a part of it, and I'm going to remove myself, right? Which is the absolute right thing to do in any other situation. If it was any other person in the church, that would have been the right thing to do. According to, everything that I've been taught, if you don't agree, then leave. But when you're dealing with someone who is highly toxic and manipulative, leaving is not that easy. But he wasn't just doing me this way. It wasn't just because I'm his daughter that it's like, okay, he really just doesn't want his daughter to leave. No, it wasn't like that. I think I could have understood that. I was like, okay, yeah, he just wants me around. I'm his daughter. He just wants me to be here. Just wants me to, you know, support him or whatever. It wasn't that. My father wanted me to live in this deception with him. He wanted me to participate in the deception with him. And because I wouldn't, then he showed his ass. You know? He showed his entire ass. And I recorded it. Yep, that's what happened. And so what I want to do is play some of the recording. Yeah, I'm going to play some of the recording, and then so you guys can just kind of get a feel, you know, of how to start analyzing this. You know, when you read the book, and then especially if you read the book and you're able to kind of listen to some of the recording as you read, I think that'll be powerful. You know, you can kind of really place yourself there, place yourself on the call with us, you know. I was in my car, you know, my father was at home. I was in my car going to a doctor's appointment, and when he called. So, you know, that's what I was trying to explain, is that, you know, even while I'm still, you know, trying to really like fight for my health and, you know, and take care of myself, he's still putting this pressure on me. You know, he's still trying to manipulate and control. And instead of just saying, you know, you know, just take, you know, you're right, just take some time, and, you know, or he didn't even ask me. He never even asked the whole time, like, okay, why are you leaving? Is, you know, what can I change? It was never even that, you know. It was just, let me just try to trick her to stay. Let me threaten her to stay. Let me threaten her husband and her kids. Let me talk about all these other churches and all these other people, to let me disparage everybody. So she won't go nowhere else. She won't be able to trust anybody else. She'll be too scared. He tried to fear me into staying, y'all. Telling me I was going to be possessed by demons and stuff. Talking about demons that are at all these other places, and that there's, you know, and it's just like, there's a demon right here. I'm on the phone with one. I'm on the phone with a demon. I've been calling one my father for all these years. So I'm not afraid of the demons out there, because I've already seen one. I was raised by one. It's like you can't even scare me with that anymore. So let's listen to like some of this recording. I'm good. How are you? Oh, you know what? Hold on, you guys. Y'all know I got Otter. I could just pull it up right on Otter. Hold on. Baby, 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 I think it's you. Give me all you need. Give me all you need. Give me all. Every touch you need. Okay, let me pull this over into a new window. I'm pulling up Otter right now because you guys know I like for you to look at what I'm looking at. That's how I roll. What y'all do today? Do y'all go to church? I actually had a moment today where I was on what was I on Instagram, and and this song You did not create me to worry. You did not create me to fear. That one. But you created me to worship daily. So I'ma leave it right. That song. I don't even know the words, but that's the only part that I got down. I don't even have that down for real. Just that's the part that I remember. But I almost had a moment. I almost got choked up. I was, oh, I kind of missed church. Because y'all know that would have been something like the praise team. We would have towed that up. You know, we would have towed that up. But, you know, I told you I don't even sing as much as I used to anymore. I really felt like I was kind of losing my voice a little bit. But then, you know, my husband put me up to singing when we was at the thing. I don't know. And I just be like, you know, I think I might still have a little something, something. You know, I might have a little something, something left. You know, I don't know. But it was fun though. It was actually kind of like a little bit of a fantasy of mine to sing with a band. You know, like of course I've sung with a band before. You know, like in church. You know, at school stuff. You know, all that. But to actually like sing at like it's not really a nightclub. It was a lounge. So I sung at a lounge with a band, you know, and it was just like, oh, that's cute. That's cute or whatever. Well, you know, it made a little dream come true. I also think that my father thought that I wanted to sing at clubs or something. I think he really thought that, which I mean, you know, I'm not above it. You know, it's fun sometimes, but it's not anything that I'm trying to do regularly. Can y'all see that? You did not create me to worry. Is that better right there? Or right there? You did not create me to fear. I'm gonna have to learn that song, y'all. Cause that's a good song. Okay, y'all ready to listen to this? Let's listen to it. I'm good. How are you? Hey, your mama told me what you said yesterday. Okay. And the answer is no. The answer is no. My baby ain't going nowhere. And my son, y'all can't go. I need you. I need you to help me sing these songs up in here. I need you. I drafted you a long time ago. You got up there and you got these people standing on their feet, got them tripping. When you come out singing, anointed, purified, come on. Hey, man, I need you. She's fetal in 2019. If you go and you my baby, you're my baby, what are we looking at for? The answer is tell you what else. The answer is no. Okay, so this is what I need to explain, like right out the gate, right? My father is wrong. My father is dead wrong for this. He, like, okay, listen to what he said. As soon as he got on the phone, he said the answer is no, as if I was even asking him. Okay, first of all, ain't nobody asking. Just we're gone. That's it. But then he's like, the answer is no. My baby ain't going nowhere. He already tried to put me in a position of a child. And not only that, but we're leaving the church. So what does me being his daughter and my husband being his son-in-law have to do with it? Why is it that role is what is point, like why doesn't he say, well, you know, you're the praise and worship leader and, you know, and my head deacon, because these are roles that we filled in the church. So those are the roles that should have mattered. But it wasn't. It was like my baby ain't going nowhere. And then he says, I need you to help me save these souls up in share. That's what he said. Listen to how he said it.
I need you to help me save these souls up in share. I need you. I drafted you a little long time ago. You got up there and you got these people standing.
I drafted you?
You. These people standing.
I drafted you? Okay. I was just trying to make sure I'm still good on Facebook, that y'all can hear the recording okay. I drafted you a long time ago. Meaning that whatever happens, because you've been in this, you're bound to this. You're stuck here. This is it. That's the mind of these religious narcissists, you guys. You can't go unless they let you go, unless they tell you to go. It's all on their terms. Trust me, my father was more mad that he kicked me out. I mean, that I left instead of him being able to kick me out. You'll see that as you listen. You'll see it. You'll hear it as you listen. Let's keep going.
Feet got them tripping. When you come out singing, anointed, purified, come on. Hey, man, I need you. All seas filled in 2019. If you go and you my baby.
And see, we had this chant that we would do, you guys. It was like a chant that we would do just before, like at the end of service. We would say, "All seas filled in 20." It was like, wait a minute. I would say the date, right? Because I was doing the announcements as well. So I was like, let's just say August 25th, 2019. And everybody else would say, all seats filled, because that was like our mission for the year, whatever. And they had a big sign hanging up behind the pulpit, saying all seats filled, and then it had 2019 on it. Hold on. I was about to pull up a video so that you guys can see what I'm talking about. But it was a banner that we had hanging. I say we, but I didn't have nothing to do with that crap. I thought it was terrible, personally. I thought it was horrible. I thought it was ugly, first of all. And I really just didn't like. There was no like. It was supposed to be, I guess, a campaign, right? You know how you run a campaign, you got a mission that you're trying to do or whatever. It was supposed to be that. But the reason I didn't agree with it is because there was no meeting or anything beforehand. It just was like all of a sudden we just came and it was up there, you know? And when I say no meeting beforehand, you have to understand that I was part of that committee that would have been making decisions on that type of stuff. But because there was no buy-in, there was no input from the people who were in leadership, you know, it didn't come across as well. You know, like if you're going to run a campaign, you have to have buy-in. You know, you have to have people who are like, okay, yeah, I'm with you. I see the vision. I support the vision. You know, I'm all in. You know, but there was none of that, and so they did not get the response and the buy-in that they wanted. And I feel like we just ended up pushing it to the point where it just was like, it just didn't hit right. It just didn't hit right. Okay. Let me show y'all this real quick. Okay, y'all see the sign right there? That's what I'm talking about. See that every seat filled right behind my father's head? That's the sign. And see, eventually over the years they just took the last two numbers off and it just says 20. But when we had the sign, when the sign first got up, it was 2019 on there. So they took that off. They took the end numbers off because, I mean, you know, it's well past 2019 now. So instead of just getting the new year numbers put in, they just took the numbers off. It's ghetto, whatever. But anyway, so this is actually from the from well, yesterday now, because it's after 1. But this was from Sunday, yesterday message. I listened to some of it. It was same old, same old. Okay, so now we're back. We're back to, so I wanted to show y'all that because to me, it just makes the reading, it enriches the reading process when you can also visualize, the scenery itself, and the people and what was going on. So I'm really hoping that this also kind of enriches your reading experience, because you're able to follow along in this way.
If my baby want to look around, the answer tell you what, so the answer is no. Tell them I love y'all way too much. Wherever y'all go, I'm going to go too. Well, I'm telling you, I'm sitting in the back seat. Everywhere y'all go, when the pastor's talking about, hey, y'all like this church? I said, yeah, we like this church, but we got a church over there.
Okay. Okay, Otter got a little mixed up here with the dialogue, so it wasn't following along in this.
Like this church, but we got a church over there.
It wasn't following along correctly right here. But look, so this is what my father said to me. He says, if you go and you my baby, if my baby walk away, what's gonna happen? That's where I was telling you guys, like, I knew that I was helping, I was helping to maintain the deception. And I just didn't want to be a part of that, because people are going to think, okay, wait, hold on. If the pastor's daughter, left his church, and it's like, okay, whoa, like, what's going on? What's that about? And that's basically what he's saying. He knows that that's going to make people ask questions. I mean, he could lose all of his sons. No one's going to really say anything about that. But for his daughter to walk away, okay, that's a big deal. Hold on, you guys. I gotta find something to sit on. Okay, I'm comfortable. Don't forget I got on the shark onesie. I played the Jaws music earlier. Because I'm just silly like that. Anyway, so okay. And then he says to me that he says, wherever y'all go, I'm gonna follow y'all. Like, that's like boundary violation. I mean, what? So you gonna stalk us? So it's like he was like, yeah, like, you're never gonna get rid of me. You're never gonna get rid of me. That's weird and dysfunctional. And then he says, if y'all even go to another church, he's like, I'm gonna follow you to another church. And I'm not even gonna let you enjoy it, because if you enjoy, if the pastor's asking you if you enjoy it, then I'm gonna say it doesn't even matter, because you already got a church. Well, don't you think I deserve to enjoy my church experience? So if I'm having a good experience, then you're gonna ruin that too. If I'm having a good experience somewhere else, that's what my father is saying to me. This is not a game. This is not a game when you're playing with a religious narcissist and someone who is highly toxic and manipulative. This is not a game. Like, this is not cute to me at all. I don't find this cute that my father is talking about how much he needs me and how much I can't go and that I can't leave the church. You have to realize, you guys, that he wasn't just doing this to me. That's what I realized. I have other recordings. He didn't just do this to me. He even told one of the ministers that was leaving that the church community is small. He was telling her that she needed to be nice to him in a way that when he deemed it time for her to expand beyond his ministry and maybe start her own or whatever, then he would put in a good word for her or make it easier for her, because the church community is small. It's just, you guys, this is not right. This is not healthy at all. This is very disturbing. And so, when I left and I just started replaying, like when I first heard it, I immediately was like put off. I was like, this is not right. Like this is not right. And because I know his belief system, I know how damaging this is, especially when he's had time to indoctrinate people. That on the surface, that some people may even hear, this call. I don't know. I don't know if people will hear it and not realize how toxic and perverse it is. But it is. I don't think it's cute. I don't think it's cute at all. A lot of people want to feel wanted and needed, and they'll just eat all this up. Oh my God, the pastor needs me. The pastor's, he needs me to help save these souls. Like, I don't save souls. God saves souls. So how is like I'm not that important? That's why I tell you, narcissists create narcissists. This is a person who has put himself on a pedestal, who is also trying to put me on a pedestal so that I feed into the delusion and the depravity of what he's doing. This is him trying to create a narcissist in me. But I already know that I'm a vessel. I'm being used of God, like not that I am God. I don't have the power to save souls. All I'm supposed to be doing is living a life that brings people closer to God, like and live in love. That's what I'm supposed to be doing. But all of these games, I'm not interested in none of that. This is what turns people off from the church. This is what makes people feel used, abused, and manipulated. Because this is objectification. This is the epitome of objectification. This is like pimping. This is a pimp game. My father is really just spitting pimping game at me at this moment. Dude, I'm your daughter. But this is the type of system that narcissists create. They create a system that is not safe for their very own daughter. So who is it safe for? If it's not even safe for the one woman, for the one girl, for the one female that you claim, or that is supposed to be the absolute closest to you, that admires you, loves you, is dedicated and loyal to you regardless of what you've done or not done. Y'all have to ask yourself these questions. You have to ask yourself these questions, because these are the type of people that you're dealing with in the world. People always say, well, how is a man with his family and all of that stuff? You better see how he is with his daughter, because a lot of people have kids. It's rare that you're going to, like, if you're in a dating game right now, you're of any type of significant age. It's very rare that you'll find a person that doesn't already have kids. How is he with his daughter? Is he performative? Is he doing all these showy things, but he's not there when he's needed? He's not giving the advice. He's not living the advice. And then there's another thing. There is this generation of men that'll tell their daughters one thing and be totally different with every other woman in the world. Every other woman in the world. But that's weird. That's hypocritical. And you're creating an unsafe environment for every woman, including your daughter. I know that maybe this doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but it will start making sense as you guys listen. It'll make sense to you, because then you'll be like, oh man, yeah, that's not right. It's not consistent. It's not right. And now, like these days, you're gonna have to see how is a man with his daughter, with the one woman that he doesn't even have to work for, that he doesn't have to do anything. Just he just has to be. I'm gonna end this in a little bit, but I need a smoke break. I always do. Anytime I listen to these recordings, I just be like, I don't. Yeah. Look, I got on a shark outfit, okay, and it's after dark, so I'm gonna be real transparent, okay. It's hard to listen to these recordings and not smoke, okay. Listen to me. Look at me. Look at me. Y'all gonna learn. Y'all gonna learn. Cause I'm gonna make y'all listen to these recordings too. Shoot, if I gotta listen to them and analyze, I want y'all to do it with me. I ain't trying to do this by myself. I might have to just go off camera for a minute. I don't know. Let's listen to some.
I need my baby right now. I do, Lois. I ain't joking. I need you right now. You're doing so good. You done got him. You done got, oh God, I'm looking at you and I'm so excited. Every Sunday, I'm like, oh my God, I can't even keep my seat. I be having to preach and I'm trying to sit down and try not to stir around. So I have something around. But by the time you get through with the praise and worship, I'm on my feet. Dang, I done lost my voice by the time it's time to preach. You got things stirred up in there. Not now. The answer is no. Let's fill the place up and then you go. If you need to go somewhere. No. Y'all don't do me like that. I love you too much.
Fill the place up, then we can go. Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. I was like, wait, what? Wait, what? Fill the place up, then we can go? What? What? Man. I need to put a little something in this tea, y'all. It ain't a Long Island iced tea. It's just a regular tea from Bojangles. But it need a little kick to it. I mean, because if we're going to be listening to this, Jesus Christ. He said, fill the place up, then you can go. Fill the place up, then you can go. Jesus, help me, Jesus. Help me, Jesus. Let's just listen to some more, y'all.
Yeah, fill the place and then you can go. Don't try to go around. We ain't got nobody. Who we got? Who there can take your place? This is not for me. This is for God. This family is giving something to God.
Do y'all believe that? Do y'all believe that? That it's not for him, that it's for God? Excuse me. Do y'all believe that? Okay, let me do this. Okay, wait, let's finish listening to this first part, and then I'm going to show you guys how I did it in the book, okay? How it, how it goes in the book. I should pull a book up too, huh? Instead of, no, because I'm supposed to be proofing this, so I got to look at this in the book. Okay, yeah. Okay, I'm doing the right thing. All right, let's finish listening to this. And I'm going to go off camera for a minute because, like I said, I'm just gonna take maybe like a puff or two, nothing major, All right.
Went up there and gone and went on. You never know whether Tay, the little man, you don't know who's going to pastor this church. You don't know if their kids who's going to pastor this church. And we're leaving a legacy for God Almighty, Lord. And I know you're not supposed to see what I see. You're not supposed to be able to see what I see and the moves I make. You're not supposed to. You're not the Moses in this picture, in this scenario. You know what I mean? You Aaron. You know what I mean? You my sister. You see what I'm saying? And I need you, and I need your husband.
He said, "You my sister, honey."
Amen. Not only are y'all doing fabulous, but I need you. I can't let you go right now, baby. I can't do it. Please no. Tell your husband, I said no. Please no. Tell him I said please first. Please no. Please. Please no. I'm building this church. We done got too close to the top. I'm at the top now. This is the finish line. We're to the finish this time. Man, we keep going. We're gonna have enough people.
Do y'all hear the laugh? Listen to the laugh. They call it Duper's delight, right? It's when you hear these people have like this real sinister laugh, like they've gotten over on you, or if they've gotten over on somebody. It's a real sinister, real sneaky laugh. Hey, Brittany. Hey. She said, "This is awesome, sis. You are giving so much wisdom to us right now. Thank you so much. And thank you for tuning in. Thank you so much." But yeah, it's Duper's delight. And you'll hear that throughout the recording, is that he a lot of things that he finds funny are at someone else's expense. It's usually a misfortune that has happened to someone else that he finds extremely funny.
So this church is just
Hold on, let me go up some, y'all.
And when you ease out, you stop coming. So, you're not the Moses in this picture, in this scenario. You know what I mean? You Aaron.
Now that's the part where my father was trying to tell me to stay in my place. He was trying to say, you're not the one who's important. You're not the one making decisions. You're not the one that God talks to. You are the one that's just supposed to do what I say.
You know what I mean? You're my sister. You see what I'm saying? And I need you, and I need your husband. I need your husband. Amen. Not only are y'all doing fabulous, but I need you. I can't let you go right now, baby. I can't do it. Please no. Tell your husband, I said no. Please no. Tell him I said please first. Please no. Please. Please no. I'm building this church. We done got too close to
y'all hear the laugh?
I'm at the top now. This is the finish line.
Let's listen to that laugh again.
I'm building this church. We done got too. I'm building this church. We done got. I'm building this church. We done got too close to the top. I'm at the top now. This is the finish line.
Now, what does that mean in relation to how a church is supposed to be, how a shepherd is supposed to be in a church? We done got too close to the top. I'm at the top now. Y'all see this, right?
We keep going. We're gonna have enough people in there, so this church is just it'll hit right on time.
What does that mean? Like, really, what does that mean when you talk about the souls of people? When you talk about their salvation, what does it mean when you say, I'm at the top now? It's at the finish line. We fixing to finish this thing. Keep going. I think he meant going, and that's a typo. If we keep going, we have enough people in there so this church will it'll hit right on time. What does that mean? And see, this is what I was trying to tell you guys, that in the book, I didn't take out any of these, like these stutters or the duplicates in messages, in the things that he was saying, any of his or, how he repeatedly says, please. I put all of that in the book, all of it, because it all means something. Every stutter, every grunt, everything means something. They're calculated. They're calculated. He probably doesn't remember everything that he said to me. I would think that he doesn't. And the reason why is because he was losing control. And then as you'll notice, like I didn't say a whole lot. Like, let's go up some. And you see Otter will tell you how much each person talks, right? So look at this right here. Look at this. It shows the speakers. I hope you guys can see that. It shows the speakers and it says narcissistic, which I call him narcissistic pastor. He speaks 93% of the time. 93%. I spoke 7%. %93. I was the one leaving the church. Why is he speaking so much? Shouldn't he be speaking 7% of the time and I be speaking 93%? Right? So why is he speaking 93% of the time? What is he even saying? It doesn't matter. He's just trying to throw, like, what do they call it? Spaghetti at the wall, see what sticks? He's throwing, he's using every narcissistic tactic that there is. And this part, see, this is, you see at the top where I called it Final Call Part 1, okay? Because we spoke, I told you guys it's about 50 minutes total. So at this part, let me go back on camera. Oh Lord. I think I got a little carried away, okay, on my break, okay? But anyway, so what was I saying? You see here I called it Final Call Part 1, right? Because we spoke twice. Now, in between, I went to my doctor's appointment. I went in, got seen, and then we talked again. And then it was another about 25 minutes of more of the same. And then he even tried to lay it on thicker because this first part of the call wasn't really penetrating, wasn't getting him the results he wanted. Because really the first minute that he was on the phone, I should have given in when he said, please, 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 and I need you. That was supposed to work. Brittany, you had to deal with the same thing? Jeez. Yes, we hear, wow, just like my ex, wow. It's really amazing, which makes me think that it's heavily, heavily demonic, like heavily demonic, because it's like it's a spirit that exists in all of them and they have all like these same characteristics. It's like if we can get smart about this one, about my father and his tactics, I'm telling you, we will be smart about a lot of them. Like we will be super smart. Oh, thanks. Oh, thank you. You said I look cute. I got on a shark onesie. Because I was like, I just want to be like informal and just come on here, just be comfortable. So I'm sitting on my beanbag chair, which is really getting flat. It's kind of starting to hurt a little bit. So I got pillows all around and all that stuff. And I'm like, I'm just gonna put on my little shark onesie. I think I'm cute, right? But anyway, and then when I first came on, I played some music from Jaws. So special. Anyway, so yeah, so that's what I was saying. Like in between these calls, I went to the doctor, and then which one did I go to? I don't even know which one I went to. I think it might have been like a follow up from surgery. I think I went to my gynecologist. I think that's the doctor I was going to at that time that day. I don't even really remember. I was going to the doctor a lot, you guys, during that time. Golly, it was like it was a lot. I actually kind of lost sight of the fact that I haven't had like a major flare up from my fibromyalgia. Like today, when I got up from a nap, both of my arms were hurting, and it was hurting like into my hands. And then when I went to move, like my body was hurting, but like after a few minutes, it kind of eased up. It was fine, but um, I was thinking, I was like, I hope I'm not getting a flare up, because it felt like, it's like a flare up trying to come on. But I haven't had like a major flare up in a while from my fibromyalgia. So I'm just really thankful for that. And then, like, I've been trying to, keep my stomach under control. Like, I have gained weight. Okay. I'm a little, a little chunkier than I want to be. But for the most part, I've been, eating. No, I haven't been eating good. I've been eating out too much. Now that I think about it. You know what? I got these points from Chick-fil-A. Like I finally got on their little point system thing. Um and I realized that I give Chick-fil-A a lot of my money. I do. Like I go several times a week. And I think I justify it because I'm getting the points. Like, I think I'm justifying my behavior. And I just really need to stop because it's really starting to show. Okay, let's get back into it.
Man, we keep going, we're gonna have enough people in there so this church is just it'll hit right on time. And when you ease
Now
out,
listen,
you
listen.
stop coming, slow down coming. Nobody never even miss you. But
Did y'all hear that? He said, once I help him get enough people in there to where he feels like it's good enough, then I can slow down and then just stop coming. But he'll have enough people so I won't even be missed. Y'all, oh my God. Oh my God. What? I mean, like, just imagine how awful that is for your pastor to say to you. Like just think about like the weight of that alone. Like, okay, my pastor just said to me that he want me to help him build a church, and then but because I want to leave because he's not a good pastor and he's not doing right, and he's not a good steward, he's not, I want to leave, but my pastor's telling me to stay and bring more people in here where things aren't going right. Bring more people, fill it up, right? And then when I feel like it's good enough, then you can stop, you can slow down. And then ain't nobody even gonna miss you then. Are you freaking kidding me? Y'all, just imagine your pastor alone saying that. But this wasn't just my pastor, this is my father. This is my father. Just gonna like boldly and blatantly tell me I just want to use you, like you're not even a decision maker. God doesn't talk to you, he talks to me. You're the assistant, you're supposed to just do what I say do, right? Because this is what he's saying to me. First of all, he's like, oh, I need you, you can't go, and then if you go, I'm gonna follow you, and I'm not gonna let you enjoy where you're at, because if the pastor is asking you if you enjoy, then I'm gonna say no, because we got a church over there. It doesn't matter if she's enjoying that one, that's where she belongs. Then he tells me that he's at the top now. That's what he said. He said,
I'll be honest, we have got too close to the top. I'm at the top now. This is the finish line. We're going to finish this thing. Man, we keep going. We're going to have enough people in there so this church is just, it'll hit right on time. And when you ease out, you stop coming, slow down, coming. Nobody never even miss you. But if you left now, ain't nobody there. You shut the church down.
he said, I'm at the top now. I'm at the top now. And I need you to bring more people in here because I'm at the top, right? And then when I get enough people to where I feel like it's enough, then you can slow down and nobody will ever even miss you. You know, you can go when I let you go and you won't even be missed. But then he says, if I leave now, I'll be shutting the whole church down. So then that's a weight that he's trying to put on my shoulders. Just imagine your pastor alone. Just your pastor saying this to you. And I don't think that, like, a lot of people can even fathom that just from a person just in that one role, you know, just as a pastor. But then you add to the fact that this is my father who is saying this to me, who would even put that burden on me of tearing down, you know, the church that he's on top of now, because he's at the top, right? Which meant that as my father, I'd also be making him fall. I mean, right? Like, am I hearing and reading the same thing that y'all are hearing and reading? Because it's up there and y'all can hear it too. You know, like that's what I'm hearing. And that he's gonna put that weight on my shoulders.
His daughter didn't even want to be here. Oh man. That's nasty. Oh my God. She up the so this church is just it'll hit right on time. And when you ease out, you stop coming, slow down, coming. Nobody never even miss you. But if you left now, ain't nobody there. You shut the church down. His daughter didn't even want to be here. Oh man. That's nasty. Oh my God. She up there hustling. You understand? Well, she up there hustling. She went up there with them demons. They went up to born again and all that. They went up to the people doing all kind of stuff, standing on their head and whatnot there.
So now he's going into he's disparaging other people, other pastors, other churches, you know. Now that's where he's going next. That's his next tactic. But also, a narcissist like shrinks your world. So what he's trying to do here is make me afraid to go anywhere. There's demons, you know, in all these places. And then now he's naming places. And I'm not going to say that church don't have demons, okay? Because that's a conversation for a whole other day, okay? That's a conversation for another day. But trust and believe we will have that conversation. But this is where he is trying to shrink my world, isolate me, and fear me into believing that nowhere else is safe. No other church is safe. This is the only church that doesn't have demons. I mean, because that would be the assumption. is that all these other places have demons, so then the church that I'm at does not. But I venture to say that the main demon was right there in the pulpit. And I think that that's clear by what we are reading and hearing right now. Let's continue.
I need my daughter. I need you to help me leave a legacy for the Lord on this earth. I've been building on this for 15 years. I done went through everything you done went through. It didn't even matter. Whatever you.
Now see, when I played this, I played this recording for Sonya, last week I think it was, and she was making note of how many times my father was saying that he's leaving a legacy, that is about this legacy. And so I want you guys to like think about that too. Like think about that, you know, how he's talking about this legacy thing, you know. And then you see how he's saying, I need my daughter. I need my daughter. See, there is no separation. There's no separation between him as my father and him as my pastor. So even though I was leaving the church, I was not leaving him. There was no difference. Leaving the church was leaving him in his mind. That was the choice he gave me. That's the ultimatum. That's the in between the lines that you don't really see, is that now he needs me. I'm messing up the whole legacy. He's at the top and he's about to come crumbling down because his daughter is not holding him up because she wants to leave. This is sick. Like, this is really freaking sick, y'all. Ugh.
Ease out, you stop coming, slow down, come. Ease out, you stop coming, slow down, coming. Nobody never even miss you. But if you left now, ain't nobody there. Shut the church down. His daughter didn't even want to be here. Oh, man.
We're right here.
That's nasty. Oh, my God.
See that?
She up there hassling. You understand? Well, she up there hassling. She went up there with them demons. We went up to born again. And all that. They went up to the people doing all kind of stuff, standing on their head and whatnot there. I need my daughter. I need you to help me leave a legacy for the Lord on this earth. I've been building on this for 15 years. I done went through everything you done went through. It didn't even matter. Whatever you went through, I'm right there with you. We building this wall. We done got to the top where this thing is going on right now. Amen. This train is like a train, and the momentum is just boom. You got it going. You know what I mean? Your momentum has taken this church to a whole new level of praise and worship. I don't even care whether Mary shows up or not. I don't care whether Brown shows up or not. The train is moving. You got that thing shining. You understand? You got it going on in there, Lord. I need you.
Y'all see that? And those people are still there. Mary and Brown are still there. Like, I don't know why, but they're still there. That is crazy to me. And they were also on the praise and worship team. And he was like, I don't even care. Like, why would you even disparage your most faithful members? It's just, that is wild.
Charles Jr. ain't gonna leave his daddy. He ain't trying to leave his daddy. And if he do, he's gonna leave him in a positive way, not a negative way. Julie and them ain't going nowhere. Where they gonna go? Their mama died in that church. You understand?
Okay, so Charles Jr. and Julie are my cousins, right? Okay, so they are the bishop's kids. Okay, so the bishop is one of my father's older brothers. My father is the baby of the family. So the bishop is actually, he's the presiding bishop over the church. And if you guys been following me on Facebook too, and following like those lives I did like last year when I was speaking out about my father, Bishop told me, he said, don't blame your father. He said that, and then he told me to talk to my father. And I was just, for real, like, that was the weirdest thing to me. Like, that was weird. Just like, don't blame your father. Just like, who am I supposed to blame then? Am I supposed to be blaming you, Bishop? Because in my mind, he should have stepped in, which I feel like he still hasn't. I even asked him, I sent him a message and I asked him, why has he not publicly rebuked my father? I even asked him in a video, why haven't you publicly rebuked my father? Why haven't you said anything? Why haven't you at least separated from him? I don't think they even separated. Like, how are you still his bishop? Like, how does that work? Are you good with this? Like, do you not see this? Do you, it's just like, that's weird to me. But these are the bishop's kids. And so now Charles Jr. has actually taken over the church, which was our family church in Detroit. So now he's the actual pastor of that church. And then Julie, I think she still goes to that church actually. So yeah, I mean, I don't think that those two ever actually left, but I'm not sure. But there are plenty of other cousins who have left their parents' church and like started their own or whatever. But either way, that don't have nothing to do with me. I don't care. I don't care. Like, this is like triangulation. He's trying to hold me to a standard that is like, or make me do what my cousins did. I don't really care what they did. They don't have the same father I have. They don't have the same experience I have. So why are you even bringing them up? It's a false argument. And then he says that their mom died in that church. So, I mean, what are you saying? Were we supposed to die or something? Like, what do you mean? Who cares? It's just like the way that narcissists take their arguments, it's just like, how do you even begin to respond to any of this, And it's like, you're not even really supposed to respond. He hadn't even really taken much of a breath. I wasn't supposed to really respond. I was just supposed to come back. I was just supposed to do what he wanted me to do. It was never an intent of, he never had the intention of having a dialogue with me or trying to figure out what the issues were and how he could change them, even though he knew what the issues were. He's the issue. But he didn't have an interest in actually correcting anything, ending things on a positive note, just simply saying, I understand, do what you need to do, go, whatever. We can still have a relationship as father and daughter. But this was contingent on that. You see how there's no separation in the relationship. 1 minute it's like you're doing so good and you're taking us on a whole other level in praise and worship, and then it's like, but you're my baby, you're my daughter, and you can't leave. It's just crazy. Let's continue.
You and I have been building on this church for years and years and years. Even before we got here, even in Germany, we're building. And here where we at right now. I need you. Lord.
See, right there was supposed to be, it was another area where I was supposed to just give in. I need you. And then he's just waiting. And then I didn't give him a response. I just, okay, I hear you. And that's the, I got you figured out. It's like, okay, I see you, I hear you, I know who I'm dealing with. That's what that means. And you see how he jumps right back into it. You see, I'm not budging, and what he's doing is not working. So now he's going to go into another tactic.
I need you. It's like this is not even real. The mama told me, I said, you too being I started laughing. And she said, I ain't playing. I said, are you kidding me? My baby. My baby. And my son-in-law, the greatest of them all. Oh my God. Mm-mm. No, not now. No, please, no. Please, no. No, I need you way too bad. Ain't nobody could cover them bases like God got you doing. God did this. This thing bigger than me and bigger than you too. And I think you know it, Lewis.
You see, now y'all see how he's switching tactics here? Now it's like, oh, I was just in such disbelief, like he's taking it lightly, like it's a joke, right? Getting greasy. It's a joke. Now he's trying to lighten it. This is him, like really just trying to help himself, like protect his own ego. To try to make a joke of it. And then to try to make light of it to me as if, there's no way. It's my baby. There's no way my baby could. No, you got to be kidding. There's just no way that could happen. There's no way that my baby would actually get tired of my shenanigans and leave. That's how I translate it. And then it goes, and then he goes into, I said it. Then he goes into, I think that was like a Freudian slip. I might have meant that. Then he goes into, ain't nobody could cover them bases like God got you doing. God did this. Now it's a God thing, right? Now it's like, oh, this is so much bigger than us. Like, yeah, like dismiss yourself and what you want and your needs for this bigger purpose. For this bigger is, because this is so much bigger what we need to do. Let's see, in my mind, like when it comes to this and the toxicity that existed, it's like, this is exactly my size. It's not bigger than me. It's my size, because I was going through this. And I don't believe that I believe that there is a bigger purpose in what we experience, right? Yes. But I also believe that there is a purpose in it for ourselves too. And when we get to a point where we don't get the lesson for ourselves, but it's more important that we just try to tell other people what to do, but we're not getting it, then this is how we're going to turn out. We're hypocrites, really. Because we also experience what we need to experience so that we can also get that lesson. But to say, oh, this is so much bigger, this is bigger than me, means that my soul doesn't matter, that I have to consider everyone else's soul or this bigger picture. But that means that you haven't taken care of home first. You haven't taken care of your own faith, walking your own salvation and your own health and your own sanity. That means you don't really have anything to give of value if you haven't taken care of yourself. So this is exactly your size. This is our size. Whatever size you are, it's your size. It's not bigger than you. Not yet. Not until you get the lesson. Then you let it grow. Then you let your experience help other people. Then that's when you can expand the message. But you first have to get it. And so when he was saying these things to me, I'm just like, no, this is not bigger than me. Because right now, we're right here, you and we are right here talking about this. This is exactly our size. Because we're right here, we're standing in this moment. And this is what needs to be fixed. It's not bigger, because it's not going to get any bigger. I'm not going to let it get any bigger. I'm not letting this curse spread. That's how I interpreted it. I'm not letting this thing get any bigger. Let's continue. Y'all getting me in. I'm passionate about this, y'all.
I ain't never seen you like this here. You remember I always talk about how you get up there and that little anointing hits you in the fire. You're always back. Always back right now. That just happened the last since we've been back. It's a whole brand new you. It's like when you went through that surgery or something, I don't know what happened, but I think that something happened. I think God did something. He not only healed you like that, but that's your mom.
Sorry, y'all.
She said, answer it.
I was trying to move it up because sometimes you got, like I told y'all, Otter gets a little bit off with the words. It really does this mostly with my father's words, because you see how he speaks. So Otter gets a little bit confused with that. But so let me go back a little bit, and I mean you can see how he's switching tactics based on how I'm responding or not responding. I'm not responding in the way that he wants me to. Instead, I'm not even giving him words or anything. I'm really just responding with sound, because really that's the respectful thing to do, because I was, giving him the respect of a response, but not allowing him to trick me into the response that he wanted, if that makes sense. So let's go back up, because I wanted to show you guys how to read the book, and like how I did it. Okay, so like I said, this hood was getting a little tight. Hold on, let me just take it off for a sec. Okay, look a mess. Okay, where's the book? Okay, so y'all see this, right? I told y'all the proofs came in today, and then I got this seal on there, and then you see like the stamp across the thing. It says not for resale, because this is the proof that I'm just going through and making sure everything looks good. And then they say like it takes about a month to for the paperback to be available. So that's what I've been telling everybody too, because this is my first time, so I didn't really know that there was going to be such a delay between the digital book, the Kindle version, and then the paperback version. But I ordered the proofs, so they came in today. So it looks really good, y'all. So I just figured like I was gonna go through the book with you guys, since I gotta review it and make sure everything looks good. Okay, so this is what I was saying. In fact, you know what? Also, I need to pull it up so y'all can see it too, because y'all know how I like to do that. But I don't even know if I can do like share multiple screens like that. So I'll just explain it to y'all. Okay. So where I left off before was I was telling you how I started this first episode, Dissonance, right? And then I was trying to tell you how I inserted my father's words, and then I put my thoughts and my words in between. Oh Lord, y'all look a mess. I might need to put the hood back on. Anyway, oh Lord. So when my father says the answer is no, let's start there. Actually, let's start with if you go, my baby go, that part. Let's start right here.
Singing, anointed, purified. Come on. Hey, man. I need you. I'm sees film in 2019. If you go and you my baby, you're my baby mom, you look around. The answer is tell you what I'm saying. The answer is no. Tell them I love y'all way too much. Whoever y'all do, I'm gonna go too. Well, I'm following you, I'm sitting in the back seat. Everywhere y'all go. When the pastor's talking about, hey, y'all like this church? I said, yeah, we like this church, but we got a church over there. That's our church over there, y'all. I need my baby right now. I do, Lois. I ain't joking. I need you right now.
Okay, so this is where I stop it in the book. Okay, so let me just show y'all this. See, like right here, right, is where he starts to say, if you go, if my baby go, right there, right? You see how it's in quotation marks? That's what you just read. I mean, that's what you just heard. So then I stop it there. In the book, it stops there. And then I insert my thoughts and give you guys some of the backstory. So that's how I did it. So before we get into the next part of dialogue here, where he says, you're doing so good, it doesn't start until the next page. Okay. So in between that, this is what I say. My father was concerned that my leaving would hurt his image and affect his quest to purchase another church. Why would the pastor's daughter leave her father's church? People will wonder. But the suggestion that he would never let us go was troubling. And then it starts with the dialogue again. Okay, so let me just show y'all that. Wait, which way do I go? So it starts off with the dialogue again. Okay, so let's go.
You're doing so good. You done got healed. You done got, oh God, I'm looking at you and I'm so excited every Sunday. I'm like, oh my God, I can't even keep my seat. I've been having to preach and I'm trying to sit down and trying not to stir around. So I have some love. But by the time you get through with the praise and worship, I'm on my feet. Dang, I done lost my voice by the time it's time to preach. You got things stirred up in there. Not no. The answer is no.
So then I stop it there and I'm just like, seriously, I'm just kind of giving you guys a glimpse into my thoughts as my father is preaching, because I'm preaching. Right. Like, see, that's another Freudian slip. As my father is speaking, I just give you like a little bit of insight into my thought process while that's happening. Okay. So let's continue.
Just fill the place up and every day you go. If you need to go somewhere. No. Y'all don't do me like that. I love you too much.
And so that's why I start here. It's like, fill the place up, then we can go. I chuckled. I was in disbelief at what I was hearing. My father was always more concerned about filling the seats with bodies than he was about souls being saved. And then he starts here. He says, you can see here, he said, yeah, fill the place up, then you can go. Okay, so I'm going to read it on the page. Can y'all see that? Y'all can't see that. I'm reading the book. Then he says, yeah, fill the place up, then you can go, he repeated. Don't try to go now. We ain't got nobody. Who we got, Lois? Who there can take your place? This is not for me. This is for God. And I said, no, this is all about you, I thought. It seemed like everything we did was to please my father. We were losing sight of God and our true purpose. This family is giving something to God. When I'm dead and gone, and went on, you never know whether Tay, little man, you don't know who's going to pastor this church. You don't know if there are kids who's going to pastor this church. We're leaving a legacy for God Almighty, Lois. Neither one of my sons was interested in being groomed to pastor the church. Besides, the boys had already left and started attending church with their biological father's family months before my husband and I left. They complained that my father always talked about himself too much, and they got nothing out of the sermons when he preached. I felt the same way when I was a child. Although it broke my heart to worship separately from my children, I let them go. Their salvation was more important than leaving a family legacy. And then it goes into more dialogue. So you guys see how I give you the back and forth in the book, but there's no back and forth when we actually talked in real time, in real life. And he didn't really let me speak, but then it was like, what can you really even say? It's just, how do you even respond to this anyway? So the response that he wanted was for me to just stay, to just give in, to comply. And I wouldn't. And I wouldn't even give him the satisfaction of giving him, that opportunity to have an argument with me or to bait me into, some type of a back and forth with him or something like that. It to really like do anything differently from what I did he would have turned it around on me and made it and use it as another tactic to manipulate me. Okay. So let me just continue to read a little bit more since I need to make sure this is good. And then I'm going to move this dialogue up. So if y'all can see it, then hopefully you'll be able to keep track of where I am. Okay. And then where are we? Okay. And then he says, and I know you don't. You're not supposed to see what I see, Pastor said. You're not supposed to be able to see what I see and the moves I make. You're not. You're not supposed to. You're not the spiritual Moses up in this picture, in this scenario. You know what I mean? You Aaron. You know what I mean? You're my assistant. You see what I'm saying? So y'all see where it is here in on Otter. He was telling me to stay in my place. I was keen on his tactics, but this was a new one. The other times I tried to leave the church, he used this reverse psychology flattery trick. He would tell me I didn't have to stay, that my salvation was more important, which I knew he didn't mean. Then he'd tell me how valuable and anointed I was, that he had this grand vision for the ministry, and I was an essential part of it. That combination worked before. He rarely had to rage at me. The belief that I was doing God's work was enough to make me stay. I need you. Where are we? Where are we now? He says, I need you. And I need your husband, he said. I need y'all there. Amen. Not only are y'all doing fabulous, but I need you. I can't let you go right now, baby. I can't do it. Please, no. Tell your husband I said no. Please, no. Tell him I said please first. Please, no. Please, please, no. I'm building this church. We done got too close to the top. I'm at the top now. It's at the finish line. We're fixing to finish this thing. If we keep going, we're going to have enough people in there so this church it'll hit right on time. No one wants to believe that they are giving up just before their breakthrough. That belief, I'm convinced, has kept many people hanging on to things they should have long let go of. It certainly kept me hanging on for the next blessing and church growth. Christians are conditioned to believe that with every struggle comes a blessing, but my father was intentionally causing hardships and struggle. And when you ease out, you stop coming, slow down, stop coming. Nobody will never even miss you. But if you left now, ain't nobody there. You'll shut the church down. His daughter didn't even want to be there, he mocked. But that was the truth. I didn't want to be there. I wanted to leave months before we did. In fact, I had been pulling away for a few years, slowly backing away like I was face to face with a ravenous dog. Part of me knew the truth. So that's the end of episode 1, y'all. And then we go into episode 2, which is disparage. And it starts off with the next part of dialogue. So I start this part where he says, oh my, that's nasty. Where are we? Right there.
So this church is just, it hit right on time. And when you ease out, you stop coming, slow down, coming. Nobody never even miss you. But if you left now, ain't nobody there. You shut the church down, his daughter didn't even want to be here. Oh man. That nasty. Oh my God. She up there hustling. You understand? Well, she up there hustling. She went up there with them demons. We went up to born again and all that. They went up to the people doing all kind of stuff, standing on their head and whatnot there.
Okay, so then that's where I stopped it here. So I gave you that whole chunk of dialogue where it says, "Oh my, that's nasty," and then where he ends with, "Then went up there with them people doing all kinds of stuff, standing on their head and whatnot." There, let me just read it. "Oh my, that's nasty. Oh my God," Pastor said. She's she up there in Heflin. You understand? Where's she at? She up in Heflin. She done went up there with them demons. Went up there to born again and all that. Done went up there with them people doing all kind of stuff, standing on their head and whatnot there. He frequently disparaged other pastors, mostly because he was jealous. He didn't want us venturing out, fellowshipping with other churches, and possibly getting stolen by other pastors. I need my daughter. I need you to help me leave a legacy for the Lord on this earth. I've been building on this for 15 years. I done went through everything you done went through. It didn't matter. Whatever you went through, I was right there with you. See, that's why you can't put a whole lot of stock in a person being there. Okay? I know that there are some of you who had terrible fathers, but because he stayed, you give him a pass. Because that was one of his manipulation tactics to make you think that, okay, yeah, he did stay. So, yeah. So it's a gaslight. Instead of just like admitting what they've done or like apologizing or whatever, they'll tell you, well, I stayed. Or you think, dang, there's other people out there that didn't have a father, or their father didn't stay. So then now you're comparing. They sometimes gaslight us so much, y'all, that we end up gaslighting ourselves. They don't even have to do it anymore. It's like they've trained us to just do it to ourselves. They don't even have to do it anymore. They've screwed us up that much that we give them the alibi. We give them the excuse. We excuse it. But it's totally possible to acknowledge a person, the good things about the situation, and hold a person accountable for the bad things. It may even seem like right now there's no balance with me, but that's intentional on my part, because you're not going to get that yet. And when I say you, I mean I'm speaking more to my father, because he's holding on to those good things. But those good things had ulterior motives. Those good things were tainted. They were tainted by ill intention. They were tainted by the whole manipulation tactic of, I'm doing this now because I need my points for later. I'm gonna have to bring this up later when I need her to do what I want her to do. So I need to be here now. I need to be present now, so that when I need her to do what I need her to do, then I can bring this back up. When he says that he's been through everything that I've been through, that is like a trauma bond, that he's trying to invoke. He's trying to pull on that string. We've experienced things together. We've experienced these bad things. I was right there in the hospital when you were sick. That's the game. But when I was in a hospital sick, you was also like right there putting pressure on me to get this church. Like, I'm in the hospital with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm literally in the emergency room and this man is sitting there talking to me, trying to use this moment of weakness to guilt me into supporting this purchase that he wants. He wants this big church because he sees himself on top, and this church is the way he's going to get it. And I'm standing in his way because I see it and I see that it's a bad decision. It's a bad decision. The church was a terrible decision. It's terrible. The building is horrible. Like, it's good. It's only good for the land that it sits on. It's a piece of crap. And it's so symbolic of everything that my father, like everything that he is. He epitomizes everything that is wrong with the building. The roof has a hole in it, more than one. That's exactly the type of leadership that he provided. That's the covering that he provided. But because he existed as a covering, then that's supposed to just be enough. That's supposed to just be what gets him by and what covers up all of the wrong that he's done. And it just doesn't. And I won't give him any type of accolades for anything until we have addressed the issues, until I have properly gotten out everything I want to get out with the issues, until I say everything I want to say. And it may not come off as compliments, and it shouldn't, because even when you did the good things, they were tainted by your ill intentions. They were tainted by you. So I don't even know what was good that was really done with a good heart, that was really done with good intentions, that was done without without a scorecard. So why should I calculate all of these things? I need to assess the situation first. I need to process it all. You missed my graduation, but you bought me a car. So I'm supposed to give you accolades for buying me a car, but you weren't there at the most important thing that ever happened, the very first important thing that happened in my life. He didn't even come to my graduation, y'all. He went to a car auction. But he bought me a car, though. So then it's supposed to all be wiped away. But how? Like, how? You just don't know. You answer for what you've done. You don't try to cover it up with crap. Just answer for what you've done. Stop trying to get compliments and accolades for the things that you did do. There were good things, sure. But I don't know that yet. I don't know that yet. Because as I'm assessing the situation, as I'm processing everything that has happened, I don't see how anything that was done that did benefit me, right? I don't see how it was done with the intention of benefiting me, of just benefiting me. If there's always an ulterior motive, then you question everything that's ever been done. You question, like, man, what was the intention with that? Like, I mean, was that really a good thing? Like, or like, I don't know. Everything comes into question. So, episode 2 is entitled Disparage. And the reason it is because this is the part of the conversation where my father he does a lot of triangulation during this part, but he does say a lot of disparaging things about people in an effort to to shrink my world, to minimize my world and where I can go, who I can trust, and what's out there beyond him, and so he talked about, some of his most faithful members. He talked about family members, and my cousins that I was telling you about. And then yeah, I think we can keep going past this part. I feel like I want to read this part to you guys. Okay, I'll start here. This is like the part where I kind of got an epiphany about like that my father was a narcissist, because let me just read it. All right. I was watching the news where a guest said they believed the president was a narcissist. That's when the light bulb came on. That's when I realized my father is a narcissist as well. My whole life, I could never really put a finger on it. I never knew what exactly it was. I used to think that maybe it was something that he experienced when he was in the military. Something horrible must have made him turn into a madman like that. And then I thought, well, maybe there is some validity to his fears and concerns about our safety, but none of that really added up. None of it really made sense of his behavior. Even in my young mind, I knew that his actions and his words didn't match. How can you be both a how can you be both a protector and a predator to your own children? I talked to him, even got a master's degree in counseling, but it wasn't enough. I could hear it, but I couldn't recreate it. I knew it wasn't right, but I couldn't prove it, not even to myself. I knew that even when I heard it firsthand, I still find it hard to believe. Excuse me, I'm on page 30 in case y'all were following along. I knew he'd explain it away, make me think I couldn't believe what I heard, saw, and felt and experienced for myself. There always seemed to be some unspoken agenda, a game that no one knew was being played. It was a feeling in the atmosphere that I knew within my spirit wasn't right. If being his daughter couldn't encourage him to change, what chance did anyone else have? He prayed for me, invested in me, and helped raise me. I was loyal and supported his dreams, visions, and goals, but it wasn't enough. Being his daughter didn't shield or protect me. In fact, it gave me a front row seat and the appearance of a supporting role to his all pervasive abuse. This religious authority that pastor possessed somehow allowed him the unquestioned right to demean, downgrade, disregard, criticize, and even ostracize his family and congregants. It gave him the right to chastise, punish, torment, humiliate, and berate, to spiritually, physically, emotionally, financially, verbally, and possibly sexually abuse us. A religious narcissist preys on the gullible, the addicted, the afflicted, and the weak, all in the name of Jesus. I'm gonna read that again. If being his daughter couldn't encourage him to change, what chance did anyone else have? He prayed for me, invested in me, and helped raise me. I was loyal and supported his dreams, visions, and goals, but that wasn't enough. Being his daughter didn't shield or protect me. In fact, it gave me a front row seat and the appearance of a supporting role to his all pervasive abuse. This religious authority that pastor possessed somehow allowed him the unquestioned right to demean, downgrade, disregard, criticize, and even ostracize his family and congregants. It gave him the right to chastise, punish, torment, humiliate, and berate, to spiritually, physically, emotionally, financially, verbally, and possibly sexually abuse us. A religious narcissist preys on the gullible, the addicted, the afflicted, and the weak, all in the name of Jesus. Excuse me. It's crazy, y'all. It's crazy. I don't wanna play no games, play no games. Mr. Brown, give me my last name. Now you're tired of the same thing. So what y'all think? Oh gosh. Oh, I need to stretch. What you think? What you think? I know games. I know games. Ah, there I go. I know games. That's so crazy. Ah, Lord have mercy. Y'all. Now, when we get into episode 3, okay? Because we still proofing the proof, honey. Proofing the proof. That's what I should have put, with proofing the proof. So, episode 3. Y'all see where we are. It's called Dissect. So y'all already know. Y'all already know what that means. We are breaking it down. I really feel like this episode 3 is the one that has like the most learning in it. You know, I feel like I'm gonna make a course with episode 3, because there is so much knowledge in episode 3. I really need y'all to read episode 3. And see, and you know what's crazy is like, okay, so like I even divided episode 3 into like 3 subparts, right? Called the good, the bad, the ugly. And see, even down to how I titled each section, right? So this is titled Dissect, right? Which means that we're dissecting his words. So this is where I start to like really break down how to really analyze my father's words and other religious narcissists, how to really analyze their words, okay? So that's why I named it Dissect, because we're really just kind of, taking a little what do you call it, scaffold, whatever. We're taking that and we're opening it up and just kind of looking at it. And then I'm telling you what to listen for as we continue the conversation. Like as we continue the recording, it tells you like I tell you what to look for in his words and how it's wrong and what kind of tactic it is and what type of spiritual abuse tactic it is. So I actually talk about, the spiritual abuse tactics. There was 13 of them according to an article called The Yeast of the Pharisees, spiritual abuse from pastors and counselors, by pastors and counselors, and it's by E.J. Kumela. And so I have that, that resource information in the back of the book. Okay, so right, it's in there. Right? That's another thing I gotta prove, right? Yep. Anyway, so I have that in the reference section of the book. But see, right here in episode 3, this is the middle of episode 3, and you see how I've got some numbered parts in there for you. These are the spiritual abuse tactics. Okay. So that's where I start to like really break down how he used these tactics on me. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Brittany. Say you are a singer and writer. Boo. Yes. Sounds good. Really enjoying this. Oh, thank you so much. That was so sweet. um, but yeah, I told you I was a praise and worship leader. I was the praise and worship leader, honey. I was look, this is why I tell people, right? When you think about like a religious narcissist, the ones that are in church and church leadership, they really gravitate to people who can sing and people who can play instruments too, especially keyboardists and stuff like that, and guitar players too, I think. But really to singers, it's something about it. I don't know. Like, you know how Satan himself was like, who was he, a minister of music or something? I think that it's something about that. Like, we have really got to dig down into like that demonic piece of it too. But like, we gotta, first of all, we gotta connect the dots. And this is step one to connecting the dots before we can get into like the deeper spiritual stuff. But there is something to that. I have noticed that it seems like spiritual narcissists, like the pastors, ones in ministry, really gravitate to people who can sing. It's something to it. So y'all have to look out for that. If you're in a church, you have a musical ability, especially if you're a singer, you know, just look out. So there were 13 spiritual abuse tactics, right? And I added a 14th one, which is objectification. This really is what I felt was missing from the list, because I have to get to that. I have to get to that. Let me go back. Let me go back. Let me not try and rush through it, because we proofing the proof. So I started episode 3, which is called Dissect, with telling you this, right? Y'all remember I started doing like those like the little quotes of the day and stuff. It's really because I feel like, though, like a lot of quotes are really good, but sometimes they miss a little bit of like the deeper meaning and stuff. Like, they don't quite, it's like they're so catchy that they don't quite get the whole point. And even though this is a scripture too, it's not really a quote. It's like the truth will set you free, right? But see, I start episode 3 with saying the truth doesn't always set you free, which is like, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. Because I find it that it just doesn't encompass everything that happens. I think people think that's probably what it is. People think that because the saying is, or the scripture is, the truth shall set you free, right? Means that it's an immediate thing. And I think that when you're dealing with the truth about a narcissist, especially a religious one, you don't feel free immediately. And it really doesn't, that truth of knowing who they are does not really free you per se. And I guess that's where the quote kind of got me in, where I was trying to go with this. So this is how it reads, okay? The truth doesn't always set you free. It doesn't immediately unlock the handcuffs of the lies that bind us. Discovering the truth is a process that sometimes puts you in what feels like more bondage. And when I tell y'all like that, to me, that's heavy, right? It's heavy because when you really break it down, that there was such a lie all around the narcissist. I mean, like, this, it's a lie. It's all just a lie, right? They are a lie. It's almost like knowing the truth about them makes you question your whole existence, right? So you don't really know what part of your existence was a lie. Was it all a lie? Are you a lie? These are questions that I asked myself. I went through, and still I would say that I'm going through an identity discovering. I wouldn't say it's a crisis. I think I had the crisis part of it. I've already done the crisis part of it, where I really even question, was I fake? As being the pastor's daughter, was my part of the ministry, or what was I fake? Because if everything that he built was based on a lie, does that also mean that I'm a lie? And so that's like some of the things that I went through, and some of the questions that I had to ask, like really hard questions like that, and just trying to discover like who I am, because I was born into the role. So it's like, who am I without that? Who am I without him? You see what I'm saying? So it's like I went through an identity crisis, and now I feel like I'm going through it, like identity discovery, in really like walking in my purpose, and realizing that my part wasn't a lie. What he did was a lie, but what I did was not. And that was like something that I'm still like discovering. It's a process. It's the truth about the situation that I'm discovering, but also what's the truth about the situation that I'm discovering that doesn't really feel freeing is who my father is. The reality of the situation hits me in a fresh way every week. Every week that I see him, preach another sermon, and, I still see the same person. I still see, a man who won't even, confess his wrongs to his own daughter. It's just like the reality of that hits me in a fresh way every week. And that doesn't feel freeing to me. It feels, I don't know how it feels. It's definitely disappointing. I'll say that. It's disappointing. But it's like I'm reaching this level of indifference, where it's like I'm discovering the truth. It's a process, and it's just like I said, the truth doesn't always set you free. It doesn't immediately unlock the handcuffs of the lies that bind us. Discovering the truth is a process that sometimes puts you in what feels like more bondage. And then I'm going to continue. I heard a YouTuber say that 90% of pastors are narcissistic and abusive. All the signs were there. My father was self centered and always needed to be the center of attention. He was vain and measured himself based on a flawed sense of self worth, i.e., physical appearance, intellect, and abilities. He only gave attention and affection when it was in his best interest to do so. And he used people and lied to achieve his personal goals. My father appeared compassionate towards people he cared about, but would discard them when they were no longer useful to him. Like you guys saw that. You saw that there, where he clearly said to me, help me build this church and then you can go. Then you just ease out and stop coming, and you won't even be missed. That is a person who is using. He was using me. I continue here. He maintained unrealistic and grandiose aspirations, could not take criticism from others, and never attempted to develop or change any of these behaviors. By now, you can probably define narcissism front to back, so I won't bore you with any clinical definitions or weird narc terms. Besides, calling someone a narcissist is not a clinical diagnosis. It's not like calling someone it's like calling someone greedy, self-centered, prideful, entitled, or grandiose, which are characteristics of narcissists. But see, the whole point is, and let me just read it. I hesitate to use the word narcissist because any ambiguity, confusion, or suggestion that I am diagnosing my father may taint your perceptions. So I'll use the word toxic as well. And see, I did that here because I am a nationally certified counselor, but I don't want anybody to really think, and even in this section where I start to like break down, some stuff, I don't want anybody to really think that I'm trying to come from like a clinical perspective or like I'm trying to diagnose my father or anything like that, because it's not that. And plus, sometimes people use that as a way to just kind of negate the whole argument or whole conversation about it. The whole point is that this is toxic behavior. This is not healthy behavior. This does not make for a healthy relationship. This does not make for a healthy leader, and especially a pastor, someone who is in church leadership, because you have to equate a pastor's role to a counselor's role in like everyday life, because they're given, in fact, pastors are given more access than the typical counselor does, than the typical counselor has. Much more access. Like, it doesn't even really compare. It doesn't even really compare. So you have to think about it like that they have a moral obligation, they're and really they should have, really the same standards that counselors adhere to, if not even more, strict. So then I start to break it down, the good, the bad, the ugly. And this is, that was like an old Western, The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, that my father loved. And I just felt it fitting to break down this section where, I talk about the good, the bad, the ugly. And it happened to be a show that he loved. And there's a lot about him that I observed and I even admired about him, and a lot that I took in from my father, a lot that I remember, and just, stuff like that. And that was just one of those things. Everything that I put in this book has a purpose, has a meaning, down from even from the, table of contents. Each title of each chapter and each episode has a purpose and aligns with what I'm talking about in that chapter. And what's funny is I use all dis words, all DIS with that prefix, and it just all fit, like dissonance, disparage, dissect, disease, disabled, dysfunction, displaced, disdained, dismayed, distorted, disillusion, disingenuous, dissolution, discharge, and dissolve. So everything that was put in this book was intentional, So, and then, so I start off with this section, the good, with Pastor was a smooth talker, almost in a patronizing and condescending way. So y'all heard some of that, like on the recording when he was like, my baby, I can't let you go. I can't do it. You my baby, I need you. And it was like, it's in a way that like it puts you on this pedestal, but it also infantilizes you a little bit, if that's how you say the word. It kind of puts you in like a baby mode. It's condescending too, at the same time. And I say he could appeal to one's subconscious desire to be praised, attended to, and complimented. He knew how to make people feel valued and needed. He could be doting, sometimes putting me on this proverbial pedestal and praising me almost to the point of worship. I learned not to get caught up in it. It was a setup. The sunshine before the storm, the kindness before the rage, the love before the hate. He was building me up only to tear me down when I fell short of his unrealistic and unfair expectations. I used to admire his ability to persuade and entice people. I had the same gifts too. But it was disgusting to see him use those attributes and to manipulate me and exploit weaknesses he created in me. And it's just like the weirdest thing. How do you exploit weaknesses that you created? How? It's it's a sick game. It's a really sick game to be a parent and you raise people, right? You raise actual people, you know, and those very weaknesses that you created them in them, whatever weaknesses those are, we create weaknesses in our children because we have weaknesses and we end up repeating patterns, or we have weaknesses, period. Everybody has weaknesses. But sometimes we actually do a bit of a disservice. But you don't just go like on top of all of that and then exploit those very weaknesses. No, you acknowledge that you created them, and then you do what you can to help your child, whether they be grown or what, to strengthen themselves in that area. You have to acknowledge where you have fallen short. I failed you in that area. It's really not that hard. It's really not that hard. Like, I've done it myself. I have told my kids, like, I messed up. Like, yeah. I mean, because, like, clearly, like, I have a whole book about it. Like, I've messed up. Like, we have things that we have experienced in our life, in our childhood, and whatever, that have impacted us, and sometimes we carry those things over. Sometimes our experiences cause us to be overprotective. It causes us to be overindulgent. It causes different weaknesses that we create in our children. It's not always, you beating them down so much and now they can't eat, they don't have confidence and they don't have self-esteem and all that stuff, right? Sometimes we overindulge. Sometimes we helicopter parent, and then our children don't know how to go out and be productive adults that know how to do anything. We create weaknesses, but you don't go back and further like exploit those very weaknesses. You acknowledge that you failed your children in that area, and then you work to make that right. It's really not that hard. And then you fix them within yourself. Like, then you work on you too. Because you'd have to also acknowledge that you had those weaknesses which were passed on to your own kids, which you put on them. So then, okay, yeah, if my kid has this, then more likely I'm failing in this area too. Let me work on me. It's not that hard. So I tell you how to really how to really break down. Let me read, okay? My father frequently went through patterns of charm and flattery. Then he would escalate to rage filled religiosity and underhanded threats. The softness of his tone and the eloquence of his words could make me question whether he had threatened me at all. It was disarming, and his intent wasn't always clear. Some people are so crafty with their threats that you're like, wait a minute, like I know that was a threat. Like I know it's threatening me. Like some people are really crafty with it. And it just makes you think that, wait a minute, I might not have been threatened, but they can really formulate a threat to be nice, nasty, and very dangerous. Ooh. But you guys will hear it. I don't know if I'm describing it the right way, but you'll hear it as we go along. Not in this particular book that much, but as we continue the series, then y'all will hear more and more and more. Okay, so realize that this is how he was with me, and he wasn't as diabolical, because I told you he tried to hide a lot from me, but because I always watched him, because it was like he was like an obsession to me. I always watched him, even in the car. I would watch him in the mirror. I always watched my father. I would pretend to be asleep sometimes, and I would be like looking at him or like listening to him. He didn't think I was. And a lot of times, even growing up, when he'd tell me things, advice or whatever, he didn't think I was listening to him. But I was listening. I was catching all the hypocrisies, all the all the lies. I was catching all of it. Yeah, I'm listening, sir. Then I said, narcissists redefine dialogue. In fact, they weaponize it. They capitalize on your feelings of guilt, shame, obligation, low self esteem, confusion, anxiety, and fear. They capitalize on your desire to please God, live a life of good health and minimal hardships, and to go to heaven. But Pastor's words were far more troubling. He had a far more sinister dark side. He tried to get me to stay by going through extremes, from flattery to fear, from praising to cursing, from proverbial ego strokes to verbal punches, from love to hate. And when all that didn't work, rage, smear campaigns, and curses. Oh, yes, curses. But I'll tell y'all about that later. So, you can see how he tried to weaponize his words. That's all he could really do to me, was to say all these things. But if he could actually, if his words could turn into actual actions, like if he could actually act out the words that he was saying to me that day, then I believe he would have killed me. Those were words of, those were like curses, and he really spoke harm to me and my family, and expected to still have a relationship with me after that. That's even more killer part about it, you know? Because even after all of that, that's where the objectification part comes in. Because after you've done all of these tactics to a person, they still don't really matter to you. That what I desired, what I wanted, what I needed, what I felt was best for me didn't matter. And I think that's the piece that really robs you. Let me just go into it. So I start off, we read some of the good, right? And then here's a little bit of the bad section. Let me show you guys where we are. So we're right here on the bad. Okay, that is page 35. And I start off this section with, we've all engaged in manipulative behavior to get what we want. Manipulation has a negative connotation, but the average person rarely has malicious intent. Like, you'll see that, and let me just read it. Some people simply refer to it as good and bad manipulation. Good manipulation is what many would equate to tricking someone into doing what is best for them, or invoking a reaction that is deemed beneficial to the person, like buying something or eating healthier or voting for a particular political party. We are even manipulated to smile, speak, and engage with others. We are all manipulated to some degree every day. Intent is the major factor that separates the sort of everyday manipulation from the more sinister kind. Okay, so this is what I'm saying here. Even though I think it's pretty clear what I said, but let me break it down even further. Okay, we're all manipulated every day, right? Like, even sometimes where we're like, to our girlfriends, like, girl, are you losing weight, girl? Because we're encouraging. We're encouraging her. It's not like, that we're really just kind of like lying, but it's like, but we want to give encouragement. Like, girl, I'm stuck. It could be. It could be deemed as it's not really bad manipulation. You're giving encouragement. You're trying to engage the person. It's just kind of like the everyday, no harm, no foul type of manipulation. Like, girl, go ahead and buy them shoes, or or what? I don't know. I don't know. Just the everyday sort of manipulation that we use, right? So let me read that again. Some people simply refer to it. Let me start over. We've all engaged in manipulative behavior to get what we want. Manipulation has a negative connotation, but the average person rarely has malicious intentions, right? Some people simply refer to it as good and bad manipulation. Good manipulation is what many would equate to tricking someone into doing what is best for them or invoking a reaction that is deemed beneficial to the person. So, like, let me think. Like, y'all know what it is. It's late, okay? It's 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm tired. I can't think of nothing. Y'all think of some examples to tell me some. I don't know. Okay. Intent. I'm gonna keep going. Intent is a major factor that separates the sort of everyday manipulation from the more sinister kind. So what I'm saying here is that this everyday little, manipulation games that we play, it's not even really games. I think sometimes people don't even really think of it as manipulation or as manipulative. But really, manipulating is just kind of moving things in a certain direction, right? That's manipulating something. Like, I'm manipulating this book, but I'm not doing anything wrong to it. There's nothing, I'm not doing anything wrong to it. But then if I was to rip the book, then that's something different, So it's all about the intention here. So I said, then I go into some of these manipulation tactics. Like, look, these manipulation tactics can occur simultaneously and vary in intensity. In some cases, these abusers will stop at nothing to maintain control over their victims. They'll lie, threaten, guilt trip, blame, and scapegoat you for the bad and take credit for everything good. They'll shame you, devalue, and discard you. Then they'll hurt and rescue you from the very pain they caused. When you try to speak up, they'll intrude and interrupt, minimize, deflect, divert, dismiss, diminish, and evade. When you seek help, they'll triangulate, gaslight, project, invalidate, and rationalize. And when you leave, they'll love bomb, give gifts, play innocent or confused, and even give silent treatment to suck you back in. Then when they get you back, they restart the cycle of objectifying, discouraging, criticizing, and abusing you. It's never ending. It's never ending. This sort of everyday even manipulation doesn't happen every day. You don't have people trying to manipulate your behavior. These same people just trying to do it every day. Because then it's like, okay, now I'm feeling like, okay, look, you need to step back. But it's never ending with these people. This is a sinister type of manipulation, but it never ends. There's no at no time will they say, you know what, you're right, I was wrong and I'm gonna stop that behavior. And it actually stopped. If anything, you telling them and acknowledging what they've did alerts them that they need to tighten up on their tactics, that they just need to get better at it. That is it. That is all. They're like, oh, you recognize that I'm manipulating you? Well, I must be slipping on my game. Now let's talk about rage. Let's talk about narcissistic rage, because that's where I start to go next with this, right? Then I said, life with my father was marred by invalidation, emotional manipulation, control, lack of boundaries and safety, high demands, minimal support, and rage. Lots of rage. Any number of things can trigger narcissistic rage, from not getting their way to being caught and called out for breaking rules and validating boundaries and social norms. A toxic person will take great offense to criticism, even when it's made respectfully, constructively, and reasonably. When they are asked to be accountable for their actions or their manipulative, exploitative, and shameful behavior, my father was no different. He used rage as a tool to coerce others to get his way and avoid facing the reality of his own inadequacies, shortcomings, and failures. So when you call them out, they just get rageful. They just use another manipulation tactic. That's it. They just go back in the arsenal. A narcissist's rage imprisons you. Pastor's rage was like a demonic possession. It was like he turned into a different person, completely unrecognizable, with outbursts that were unbelievably disproportionate to the perceived offense. These outbursts were like adult temper tantrums, but there was nothing childlike about his strength and the incredible amount of damage he could do with his bare hands. You do everything you can to avoid it. You comply, but that ultimately leaves you unrecognizable to yourself. I did. We all did. We would say amen knowing he was preaching lies. We would comply even when we knew he was breaking rules and laws. I did it until I could no longer stand it. I hated myself and who I was becoming under his spiritual leadership. I wasn't close to God or anybody else. Everything revolved around my father. I need to get some sleep. But I think that we need to really take on this journey of really like helping each other, you know, and really building this community of people who are smarter about these tactics and these actions, these behaviors that are really, toxic and hurting people. And I think that this is a powerful step in the right direction. So I guess when I come back, then we'll be on the ugly. Yeah, so we'll be on on page 37. So we'll be right here when we get back started again. Okay, y'all? All right, y'all. I love you. And I wish that you have a wonderful day, that you sleep well, that you're blessed and you're prosperous and you are narc free. And if you're not narc free, then at least you know how to deal if you got to deal. So y'all know, you got the book. Go get it. Go ahead and get the digital so you can follow along with how I'm doing this. Anyway, I love y'all. You are important to me. I need you to survive. Bye, y'all. Bye bye for now.